To be here on screen now. You guys tell me if I'm not, but we should be up. Now let me get the vertical stream going. Go live, boom, boom. Wait, why is that up there? Oh, that's why. Never mind. All right. Let's auto find and activate and see if it will do both. I believe it has. You're good. Hey, what up, what up, what up? What up, yet it is. Howdy, what's up, Dag? Welcome in, guys. So my plan for this is we're just going to talk about Critical Role. We're going to talk about everything that's happened so far. So 18 episodes, what we're expecting from the schemers. So we're going to chat Critical Role for quite a bit. And then I think I'm going to jump on to Solasta 2. So yeah, that is a new game similar to Baldur's Gate that entered early access today. So we're going to do Critical Role for quite a bit. Yo, what up, Piratey? And then we will jump over to other things. Why did this just... Hold on, I just lost... It randomly logged me out of my chat for exit. My all chat. Let's try this again, shall we? All right. All right. I think we're good now. That was very strange. Glad you're doing the catch-up show. Yeah, I figured why not, right? We had a week off. And so I figured I'd jump on here. Let me just say, guys, I am very happy with the comments on my review video because I was super nervous about that. I also today trimmed down my disclaimer because I got some feedback that the disclaimer portion of me saying like, don't hate me for this, I'm just whatever, was a little long. So I have since done that. Catch on Sierra, then they have a break. Oh, well, Tara, hey, that means you got all caught up and now you can chill for a little bit before it jumps back in. So you got some free time. Nothing wrong with that. But welcome back over on Twitch. Sonny, what's up? Dag already said hello to you. Paul, what that happened again? All right, maybe if I just stop touching it when I do this. It keeps logging me out of my thing I used to connect all my chats together whenever I like mess with it and click on it. So we're just gonna set this and then we're gonna leave it alone and hope that it just stays working. We'll just leave it alone. But yeah, so how's everybody feeling? How's everybody feeling about Critical Role moving forward? Just in general. I am curious how everybody is feeling as we head into the third table. Are you still excited about it being a 3-table adventure? Are you wishing, like, I guess just what are your overall thoughts? This is a stopping point. Hey, I'm on TikTok. Do you give any DM advice? Sure. What's this stream? Yeah, John, I decided that I would do one. We had the week off, but I figured I'd just do a little catch-up stream because we do have, like, it is after an arc. So we have plenty to talk about. We have the soldiers, we have the schemers, and stuff like that. I think the other question I have for you guys is, do you think we need table change-ups? I'm not asking necessarily if you want table change-ups. I'm asking if you think we need table change-ups. Um, let's see. Daniel says, I've been pleased with campaign 4 so far. The soldiers and seekers have both had interesting arcs. The combats have been enjoyable, and the performances have been solid. Okay. Goober says, I look forward to the next tailgate episode. Yeah, they haven't said anything about that. I'm curious when that's going to come along. I wasn't overly satisfied with the first one, so hopefully they've taken feedback. They've kind of rehashed how they want to do it. So hopefully we'll get some of that. I'm hoping to get that. Let's see. Piratey says, looking forward to the schemers and their players. Wondering about combat for that group, though. That's true. If they're sitting in the city, like, what's going to happen, right? So I'm also intrigued, and I'd like to see them in combat. I really would. I'm super happy to be reaching the third table. It was the one I was looking forward to the most. I like the other tables, but I really love political intrigue. Yeah, I've never been in a game where it's political intrigue, so I don't know how they play. Like, is it just role play? Because I feel like we got a lot of that with the Seekers. So I'm wondering how it'll kind of be balanced when it comes to that. I know we've talked about it quite a bit. See, John says, I need the schemers. While there were elements of this last arc I was very ready for a change these last few weeks. I also was very ready for a change. Piratey says Azune and maybe Howl Flyer's Blade, maybe the only toe-to-toe types. Yeah, well, I mean, Murray has some sass and will definitely catch an attitude and fling some spells off. And Bolaire has clearly been in war, so they're definitely capable. Yet it is says, I think it's a cool change, having multiple tables, but it's unfortunately kind of hard to keep track of all the plots going on, too. Yes, but also I feel like this is probably the easiest it's going to be. Like, it's still so early. But we've just gotten so many bits and pieces of lore and things like that as well, just over the time. Piratey says Seeker's table needs change. Black. Yeah. Daniel says the tables seem fine the way they are for now. That might make sense to switch up some characters in the future, but for now it's not necessary. Okay. Link says, I personally enjoyed both tables. Seekers I've enjoyed more than the soldiers, but that's my opinion. Excited for the schemers or political shenanigans. Yet it is, which isn't so. I had a feeling, but the feeling was biased when I made my poll saying, like, did you enjoy the soldiers more or the seekers more? And biased because I enjoyed the soldiers more substantially. I was like, oh yeah, the soldiers are going to win. But then the other part of me was like, well, Steven, not everybody likes things the way you like things. But then the poll was like 60% of people liked the soldiers more. And then it was like 20% liked both equally. And then it was like 12% or 14%. I'd have to pull it up. But I was a little surprised how much it leaned to yeah, sorry, I had a message for a thing. What's up, Tails? Let's see. I make excited for the schemers though. Hey, on TikTok says, should I increase enemy amount or make the enemy stronger depending on how many are at my table? You can do both. Those are ways to balance. Those are both ways to balance. You can have more enemies, but they're not quite as strong, or you can have stronger enemies. And in some scenarios, one might fit your game better than others. Because it might be like an area where it's a horde of goblins, and so you have numbers versus power. In other situations, you want like a big bad evil guy that like runs the show, and so maybe he's powerful as 1 or 2 minions, but not 10, right? Like that sort of thing, because he has more power. Jägermeister says, yes, Brie needs to be at a table with characters she likes. The constant combativeness is a little tiring. Feels they ended farther apart than they started. I agree with the feeling that they ended farther apart than they started, which feels odd. It feels very odd. But I don't know. So the thing is, people react differently to combativeness. And this is in all areas of life. because there are people who watch that and they enjoy that. They didn't mind it. They understood it. They know the reasons behind it, or at least they've created reasons in their head for why these characters are acting this way. There was a period of time, a couple years ago, where I was in a podcast, and my brother was also on that podcast. There were four of us. My brother was one, and we got combative with each other as brothers. And we'd get feedback on like Reddit threads that would be made about our podcast, and they would be like, "Oh, Steven and Sean really went at it," and that kind of turned me off to it. But other people enjoyed that we were so blunt with each other, and so like there was that combativeness and that tension. So yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like some of that can be good, but I also understand some people being like, "Ooh, I don't. This feels weird to me." Like, are they upset? Are they not upset? Why are they? I think if it made more sense. Like, I think if it made more sense, it wouldn't feel so bad. But it did feel like nothing changed between you, really. Like, you're the one who brought him back. Why are you mad at him, right? Like, it did feel like it was out of place. So I think that's why the combativeness feels like, Cameron says, if narratively relevant, I think a table switch is fine. Otherwise, if the plan is to have cross-table crossovers every now and then, I don't know if it's needed. Okay, yeah, it was more so like, do people just think that the characters or players that are matched up aren't the best for like the show? Which is where I stand on it. I do think the Seeker's table probably needs a change up. Or Ashley needs to come alive, because she was backseat the entire time. The entire time, the entire arc, she was backseat. She never really took the scene at any point. And once Aranessa left, Julian didn't either. Like, Matt was quiet for like 45 minutes at the start of episode 18. Like, Ashley did a thing with the Night Song, which is her whole shtick, is like, this is my god, I have this thing, I tuned to it, and then she passed it off, didn't interact with basically the entire thing. And the only reason Matt ever spoke was because they're like, hey, you read this language? Come over here and do this. That's it. Like, and so people, here's the other thing I want to touch on. I'm getting a little ranty in here. Is people will try to blame Tisha or Abria for this. And this is where you have to step back, every one of those people, and say, is this her fault? Or was she handed it? She was handed it. She didn't ask to be brought into the Night Song. She didn't ask for Velas to never say anything. She did, right? Like, Velas brought her in and then just went, all yours, and sat back, right? Like, now, I don't necessarily think she needed to ask about a whole bunch of stuff that had nothing to do with the child that she was trying to find. But yeah, I just feel like that table needs more, because it almost makes it feel like there's too much of her, but it's because other people aren't doing anything. And so then, the haters are finding more reasons to hate, but it's not her fault that Brennan is like, yo, they're a bunch of druids and they all want to talk to you. And, oh, you are a character that's important to the world as a circle of the old past. Everybody wants to talk to you, right? Like, so, I try to remember that when it's like, wow, it really feels like this is the Tisha show. But it's not all her fault. Like, at this stage of the campaign, she is important. And when you take that in also to Velas always steps behind and doesn't do anything. Julian was quiet ever since Lady Aranessa left. I was kind of surprised, because at first I didn't know that I was going to enjoy Octus as much as I did towards the end. At the start, I was like, Matt, I'm really here for Matt right now, and hoping that Velos will come alive and everybody else will be good. But by the end of it, I was like, I enjoyed Octus. I enjoyed Alex. And now I have to catch up on chat, because I just ranted for long enough that I need to catch up. Dag says, I think we need them in the future. Yeah, it would be a waste to have these deep relationships, cross tables, and never take advantage of it, look deeper into it. Taryn on Twitch says, I'm looking forward to seeing more of the Schemers soon. Love the soldiers. Also, really enjoy Julian and Octus. Don't love everyone go back to Damakiar as soon as they've had their first arc. I agree with that. That'll be another rant. I think table switch-ups are coming, but it doesn't feel natural at the moment. No. I agree with that. It's not natural for either one of these groups to go back. To me. I'm just a dude on the internet, so have your opinions. But both, it just feels like they want table swaps, or they know from production, from Brennan, whoever, hey, we're gonna do this thing if you all go back to Damakiar, so they're all going back to Damakiar. What's up, Anonymous? To your point, very true from Yet It Is. To your point, everyone, inexplicably choosing to return to Machiar almost makes me think you're prepping for table shifts already. And that's kind of where my thought was when they decided to do that. Link Journey says, and also I would say that since all the tables are converging to Machiar plays out, there better be a table swap. Boneyard, yo, what's up, dude? I think it would be nice to have a table not rushing to get somewhere. The constant, we got to get to this person place of the first two tables was getting old. That's fair. That is fair. You had the soldiers being like, we need to find Sid and get Casimir. And then you had the Seekers being like, what happened to Aligar? We need to get to the Golden Orchard. And yeah. Rory says, I agree. Less time to set up towns or environments and let the players explore and develop. The story needs to go faster. So that's kind of contradictory because like some person just said, it felt like it was like they were go, 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 go. We have these timelines. And you're saying on one hand, let them explore and develop, but the story needs to go faster. So those aren't like the exact same thing, right? Like the story going faster and let the players explore and develop are like kind of different, right? Unless I'm crazy there. Jason says, everyone is going back to Dalmakiar, so it seems inevitable we will get some reshuffling. Yep. Dag says, and be right back from Tails. I think the hardest part will be keeping track of the timelines. Like, when is this event happening? We are currently using the death of Theaz as the only real reference point. Yeah. Daniel says the soldiers had a clearer mission and a greater sense of completion at the end of their arc. The Seekers had a good adventure, but there were lots of loose threads at the end. Yeah, again, it was like episode 17 and 18 left us with more questions than we had when we got there. They answered things, but they left us with even more questions, and it didn't feel like a real conclusion, and it felt rushed. It felt rushed, not a real conclusion, and the decisions they made at the end were just like, how did you get to that decision? So... PCs in the Seekers group aren't super likable. They have their moments, but I agree, Piratey. I think that's the other part of it. It also says weird that Sir Julian came off, to me at least, as the most likable PC. Octus in him for sure, and Valus like is, but again, just doesn't do anything. So it's like I don't dislike Valus at all, but also just not doing anything. I think all the complaints about Abria Iyengar may be more due to her being a bit, to be explains, need to occupy every minute of the story or the appearance of it. So again, do I think that there are elements with her that can lead to some stuff? Sure. Do I think right now it is kind of unfair because so much of this is not of her own doing? Brennan being like, hey, look, the druids want to talk to you and just you, and oh, the druids want this, and oh, this person wants to talk to you because you're important, you're a Loy, you're a druid, you're a path of the, oh, Valus brought me in and then just stopped talking. Like, those aren't her fault, but she's catching flack for it, right? Like, people are like, oh, she took the whole scene, she didn't ask to, she didn't say, hey, bring me in, coach. Like, so I try to be really fair with those things and kind of step back and say, did she force this or was it handed to her? And I think everybody should do that to kind of get a better balance of just like, I want, being hateful or whatever. Emma, what's up? Yukimi is grateful, like the big web of puzzles multi-tables create, albeit agree with you, it's contrived. For soldiers unexpectedly, forced drama for drama's sake doesn't hit, agreed. And that's kind of what it felt like. Regarding the campaign timeline, it seems that each arc lasts about 7 to 8 days in game. The soldiers are now on day 10 or so, and the Seekers are close behind them. Schemers are a week behind. Yeah. Which is going to be weird when we get to the Schemers because our cold opens from the soldiers. They're like outside, like they're like at the city gates. And then it's like, hold on, we got a couple of days to catch up. So I don't know how they're going to pull that off because when they were doing when the soldiers ended, they didn't do cold opens with the soldiers for like 3-4 weeks. So, yeah. It sort of made sense, but all the backstabbing at Castle Klippenblick and the Sanctuary was a bit weird, especially when the running and drive turned on a dime last episode. Paul says, I'm worried about the upcoming table and the ability to maintain interest, overly playing the political aspects. Yeah, I have never seen a highly political intrigue campaign, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Amen on the Ashley Valus thing. Daniel says the Tisha Octus stuff felt forced. She was overreacting to every little thing, and Alex finally had to tell her to back off. Yeah, well, again, I don't know, like we swapped there. We say Tisha Octus, but then we say Alex had to tell her to back off. I'm assuming you meant like Octus had to be like, hey, chill, versus like Alex himself. I know that we use the names interchangeably. I'm just trying to see if like that's what you meant or not. The soldiers had more genuine feeling drama as it was enforced, which I wasn't expecting. Feel like the lore was great in the Seekers, but the interpersonal drama seemed a bit crowbarred in. I agree. I think the drama was forced. And again, I said this in my review. I like the lore. Some of it is so cool and so exciting. I don't enjoy 10, 15 minutes of just Brennan lore dumping. With like moments that I know as a dungeon master, there are times to give information and see if your players figure it out. But it feels like they're in such a hurry that that part doesn't get to happen. You don't get to watch the wheels turning for the players as they start to figure things out and make their own connections and stories. You just get, hey, oh, you rolled a 27? Here's 37 pieces of information. And then I'm going to bring your 27 up again in a couple minutes, and then again in a couple minutes to give you more and more and more. And it just, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's cool lore, but the delivery method I don't love. Spooderman, what's up, dude? Thanks for the heart on TikTok. I'll throw it out there now. Again, guys, if you haven't already given it a thumbs up, please thumbs up on YouTube. Type something in the chat. If you're on TikTok, double tap your screen. I'm trying to catch up with chat. I know I'm a little ways behind, but I'm getting there. Julian would have fit in so well with the pacing mechanics of the soldiers table that the narrative didn't necessarily fit his character. I agree. I think he would have fit in great there in terms of Julian, not in the actual story that he's currently in. Remember, the pace change in the last episode is super jarring. I think the fast pace of the early episode maybe led to the exposition dump in the last one. I will be checked out. Paul says, excuse me, I will be checked out if it is nothing but interacting with children in a theater. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know that he sent his kids off to stay with somebody else. Elodie. Hey, Daniel, thank you for the re-upping of the membership. Great to be here and join the channel a lot. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Thanks for re-upping. I think she did that because she knew the dead man in life and thought she would be better asking him questions. I mean, again, I know why she was like, so basically the person's like, hey, who are you? And Valus is like, oh, I'm Valus. Oh, you might know I'm friends with Tisha. Here, Tisha, come in here. I mean, I get it, but it's like, this is your thing. Like, this is your thing. You finally got a moment. I mean, you can't fault him for it, but in that moment, it almost feels like Brennan should not have allowed people to enter because it was finally something Ashley was doing. Valus was finally getting a moment to have a whole scene to herself, and Brennan was like, yeah, you can come in, Tisha, go ahead. And then it was just, Valus was gone. Valus was gone. Emma says, Matt, unsurprisingly, balanced it perfectly. Sometimes less is way more. I don't think it's anyone else's fault and think the reactions are fair and good role playing, but a bit blown and dragged out. Yeah, and I honestly enjoyed in the last episode, at least, maybe even in 17, Matt as Julian was kind of trying to get them to start moving. Like, I think he was like, hey, we've just been talking to this dead guy for an hour. Like, maybe we should move. We've talked to him about stuff that got nothing to do with what we're doing right now. Maybe we should get, like, he was like, I'm just going to go. Like, Julian's not waiting. Like, he's going to go. And I was like, yes, thank God. Thank God. I agree. Okay, Goober says, but I agree. I agree that Matt switched to a player character effortlessly. Yeah, Matt's done a great job. Really loved that. 100% agree on Alex. The best takeaway from Seekers was his growth. Agreed. I was unsure of Octus at the start, but it really shined by the end. 100%. Yaw says, aside from Alex, no one else except Tisha really interacted with the story or pushed the other characters when Brennan wasn't dragging them along. Yeah, exactly, Yaw. So, like, it felt like they were the two. I feel like Octus did it in a better way. And Julian did, but only when Aranessa was there, because that was kind of his thing, was like, hey, we need to find our people. Hey, we need to figure out the Golden Orchard. Hey, we need to... And then she left, and all of a sudden he was just like, oh, well, yeah, we're trying to find Aligar. And then, you know, they didn't do that. Octus definitely had the spotlight during the Seekers table. Yeah, he definitely became it. Piraty says, some PCs will want to travel to the Golden Orchard. Other than that, meh. Sorry for being off topic, but do you have any idea for running an encounter? It's with the Mummy Lord and Skull Lord. I'm not familiar with the Skull Lord. In terms of how to do it, I'm going to assume a tomb or a crypt in the desert. Maybe have some cool mechanical things like quicksand. So if the players walk into certain areas, it's quicksand and they need to make a saving throw. You could have a layer action that happens that causes whirls of sand that provide obscure, like light obscurity, or something that can give armor class bonus or something like that to shooting with ranged weapons. Like it'll be harder to hit, things like that. I don't know if you have anything specific you're wanting to know, but those are the things that popped into my head right there. Could be something where they have to get locked back away, so there are rune tablets that have to get hit in a certain order to seal him back in the sarcophagus or something. Octus showed the most development on the table as a whole. Once he got beyond the new body syndrome, he really embraced the role. Agreed. Link says we also have Candle Feast as another pinpoint to track everybody is at. Also true in terms of timeline. Emma says, I think Octus stands out because he was quieter at the start and now he's coming more out of his shell, and the trajectory is interesting. He's physically broken, he's emotionally volatile, yes, but his mind seems to be getting into a better state and he's trying to piece things together. He's trying to figure things out, and I enjoyed that. Like, he was really doing it. Jason says, I think you're right. The end of the Seekers seemed almost forced as far as the decision to go back to Damakiar. Yeah. Emma says the only thing that Tisha is that she's been quite one note, which gets old. I'm hoping we see different facets of her character in different, less intense scenarios. Sorry for so many messages. No, not at all. This keep the messages coming. Dag says, I don't like the idea of having backstage plans like, oh, hey, make sure your story leads back to Damakiar, takes away from player agency. I agree with you, man, but it's a production. It's a production, and this is the way it's going to roll. It's a production that is not only a production. Say that word 17 times in 10 seconds. But it's 3 tables. So now timelines and everything are now so, like, it's not just, okay, I need to know where this group is going to figure out what may happen. There are 3 different groups that are existing in this world at the same time, and it just makes it even more so. Ashley always plays a secondary role. She never dominates storylines, even when she played Yasha. Yeah, but it just feels like she's came in so cool with this character and then just completely fell off. So it's a little disappointing in that way. I wonder if there'll be a mini Overture Part 2, 2 episodes made with all the players present as they mash stuff out and maybe shuffle the tables. That would be interesting. Yeah. That would be something to have everybody there again and kind of do one of those. Terrence says, I think Octus resonates partially because he's us. If he were an Armon, he was living his life, and then all these big important things, crazy things happen to him and around him all at once. He's essentially reacting like someone. Yeah. Who gets shifted out of soldiers? I can't think of one person. Thimble, Tayor, or Cadigan, I think. I think Wick and Tierney will most likely stick together, but maybe not, right? They could throw us for a whirl. But I think any of them could be shifted out in terms of their characters. They're not all insanely tied together. Like, the strongest bonds are Wick and Tierney and Cadigan and Tayor. Like, that's basically it. Jaeger says, all the Seekers would benefit from being at a table with a character like Tayor, who seems kind, well-intended, and trustworthy. The group didn't have a glue. I agree with that. I think forcing shorter episodes really might have hurt the Seekers table. Yeah, they were really trying to stick to the 3.5 hours, and I don't mind that. But the ending where he was just like, hey, just let you know, we're coming up on time, was like, oh, so we're really just gonna be like, you guys don't get any of this new information. You don't get to really hash out what your next plans are and why you're making them, which maybe is why it feels like they made a decision that doesn't make sense, is because they didn't get to explain it to us. It was just like, yeah, we should go back and whatever. And it was like, you guys didn't succeed at anything. And there are more questions, and the Golden Orchard and Lady Aranessa. And, you know, it was just like, huh? I don't think we have to worry about Schemer's combat. There's plenty of back alleys, mercenary storylines, not to mention we already had 2 fights in the City of the Night. That's also true, Dak. That's also true. You know, that there are these mercenary groups. Maybe things will come to a head with like the Halabars and all that sort of stuff. So there definitely could be. Emma says, agree on the Brennan lore dumping thing. In Fantasy High End Dimension 20, the players figuring it out is great, and then no roll necessary for dead on guesses. But maybe Brennan is stuck because of table schedules. Maybe, yeah, again, maybe that's it. And it's so fresh and it's so vast, right? Like to have a whole world in a history and all these moving bits and pieces and factions and families and religions and dead houses and new powerful houses. I know you want to share all that and you need to like set scenes for things, but the way, again, it's the method the lore is being dumped that is just making it difficult for me personally. Jodman on TikTok says Ashley has a little issue with RP by herself. It flusters her when she tries to. Fair. I mean, again, not everybody's like fully, you know, with that, but Link says, let's say for argument's sake that the tables do swap, what would the new makeup of the tables be and what would their objectives be? Well, I don't know that right now we can know objectives because I think we're going to learn a lot about what's going on with the houses with the schemers. So I think we'll have a better idea some point during the schemers, because that's where I think we're going to really get into some of the weeds about like who's doing what and why, right? Why are the Cormorants doing this? Why are the Einfosens doing that? Like within the city. So that'll help determine a lot of those things. Matt was so successful in getting them moving that they skipped their rest. See, but I agreed with him. I think in the cold open they said, like you could have convinced me. That's what I was telling you. But at the same time, narratively, it didn't make sense to rest because they had already made it out like we need to go, we need to find him, we need to find him, we need to find him, and then to be like, yeah, let's chill out for an hour. Like, you know, I get it, but that's the hard part about playing a role-playing game that has rests that are required to heal and get abilities. Is because sometimes the narrative timeline pressure makes you feel like you can't do the thing that mechanically you need to do for the game portion. You need the rest. For the story portion, resting doesn't make sense. And so kind of finding the balance with those two things can be difficult. On the Velas thing, Emma says, letting people in is another symptom of the multi-table switch-ups and having to get a certain amount of info in before the swap. Maybe that's what's causing some gripes generally. Yeah, I could see that. Daniel says, I wonder what Tersha's CR was. The Night of Ceremony was 8. It seemed like Tersha must have been at least that high. Oh, 100%. Well, her tail strike hit, like, was blasting. Was it a crit? I don't think it was a crit. That was like 30-something points of damage. Maybe it was. I don't remember if it was a crit. But yeah, he was rolling poorly and like it still knocked 2 players and did all that. And I think it could have been much worse if he was rolling a little bit better. Spooter says, those are some good ideas. And I do like the line of sight stuff. Good, I'm glad. But I mainly meant on how to balance it, as both of the bosses are CR15. So how would that factor in an encounter with minions? Either really weak minions, like one-shot minions that don't do too much damage, but they more fill the battlefield, or you don't do minions. If you have 2 CR15s, I don't know the level of your players, but maybe they alternate legendary actions. So rather than each of them gets like 3 legendaries or something, if you even need them. I mean, 2 CR15s is a lot of stuff they can do. But you could say like, instead of they both get a bunch of legendaries, you could just say like they alternate or something like that. So you still keep yourself to like 3 legendaries in a round and they just swap back and forth. So one round it's Mummy, the skull thing, Mummy, and the next round it's skull thing, Mummy, skull thing, or something. It's just an idea. The stuff that Claps says, hopefully this week the players use this time to get into Catcher for the Love of God. To get into... I don't understand. Oh, to get into character. What do you mean? The stuff that Claps. What do you mean? Like, so you're saying you hope they use this off week to get into character? What? I guess what do you mean by that? Another potential timeline landmark might be what happens with Timony and King Gus's rival. I am very interested in that because I think I'm a fan of King Gus. The Hounds are on his side. I'm on King Gus's side. Wherever the Hounds are, I'm in, dude. I'm in. Wherever the Hounds are, I'm in. One interesting possibility for the soldiers in Damakiar is that they will be there at the same time as King Gus. Hey, you're bringing up King Gus too. They might be able to come to his aid if the Taconas attack him. Agreed. Well, Taconas are getting a little stretched thin right now. Yeah, if they got forces at the Orchard, which I had thought was like a previous message, and like Orchard had already been attacked. But now it seems like maybe that's not actually the case. So, I mean, we don't know, but yeah. I believe Julian, Teor, Thimble, Octus will make a group. That's what you're saying? Yeah, I can see Tyranny's sisters kill Teor's brother instead of him. I agree. Main point is that letting people in to speak with Dead doesn't fit Bayless's character. The others are all consistent to the characters. Hope the first tables of each are the most produced. Yeah, again, people were discovering their characters. A lot of the stage was being set, so there can be some judgment, but I think a lot of it needs to wait a little bit until we get them in their second arcs. Because I think it's going to have formulated, and I'm hoping that they're listening to feedback, because they are a production, they probably have people doing this, so they know where their pain points are. And I also hope, and I know not everybody's going to love this, but I hope that if they look, let's say that they have a way to determine what my poll did. And my poll so far is showing that people, by and large, liked the soldiers more. That even though I know that there are the people who liked the Seekers more and all that, I hope that they're not going to be willing to risk losing their audience for those segments, just to maintain having 3 unique things, like the soldiers, the Seekers, like that. If they go, hey, it seems like the vast majority seems to like this style more, let's do a little bit more of that style. Like, let's not force the schemers to be just political intrigue if 70% of people don't enjoy that as much. It's kind of like, just listen to the audience. A little bit is where I'm at with it. I wanted to go see my poll right now and where we were at. 59%. Out of 340 votes, 59% for preferred the soldiers. 26% liked both equally. So we're looking at basically 60% soldiers preferred, 26% liked them both equally, 14% preferred the Seekers over the soldiers, and 1% disliked them both equally. So that, yeah, I don't know. Paul says, my concern for the upcoming table is without travel and new locations, how do you advance the storyline? The Schemers table required a lot of NPC direction to move the plot. Valid concerns. Rory says, Matt had some more time to set the scene and flesh out the world in past campaigns. Brennan is in too much of a rush to fit everything in the story. I agree that things happened more naturally over time, I think, with Matt and Exandria. He also wasn't using 3 tables at the same time, needing to fit as much as he can into 6 episode arcs. So, it's not a complete tit for tat because Matt was not running what Brennan is running. But yeah. Reed says, are we thinking when they all reconvene that there will be 4 sessions like an overture? So somebody else mentioned it earlier that, it would be cool maybe to get not a 4 episode, but maybe it's a 2 episode or something where all the characters interact or most of them interact in different ways at different times. And then they kind of, once again, split into different groups to do things. I don't know that will happen, but it could be cool. It could be cool, Reed. Also, welcome in, dude. Last time I mentioned my nervousness about the Schemers meeting in the Avery section of the tavern. Now we know there's an NPC named Mara the Wing. No telling whether spies might be in bird form. So I'm going to do a video on this, although it's probably not going to be a super long video. But my theory is that Mara was who Thiazi saw as a Falcon before he died. I think that's who that was. When he looked up and looked kind of surprised, I think she showed up, said something to him, and then that was that. Jason says, it's almost comical they didn't take a short rest. There wasn't actually anything urgent going on in that dungeon. And they do. Yeah, so this is the weird part, Jason, is I feel like it was said several times that Allogar left. Like, he left and followed Ranger Bierza, into the wilderness. And yet it was like they were thinking he was further inside. And I'm like, Brendan said he left. And then it was brought up again. He left. Like, he went in, seemed to have done something successfully, which again, like, that was like a freebie from Brennan because the dead guy was like, I think he did it successfully. It's like, how do you know that? All you saw was him go inside and him come back out and run into the wilderness. Like, what? But it felt like the characters or the players didn't grasp that, and they were like, oh, Allogar is inside. And I'm like, no, dude, he went that way. Like, he went that way. Yeah. Which again, I can see ties into if they had noticed that, then it makes sense. Like, why don't you rest? Like, if you're not chasing him right now, like, go ahead and relax. But they were like rushing anyway. So, Dax is good. I'll stagger the minions like minions that boss appears after. True. Spooter's out now. Peace out, dude. No problem for the help. King Gus, yeah. My cat watching called Gus is loving you calling him King. King Gus. Let's see. Daniel says, based on what the Black Rabbits told the soldiers, the orchard already fell a few days after Theo's execution. Aaron S. will be getting there a week after. Yeah, so that's what I thought. But then I saw these people saying, like, oh my God, like, the orchard and the soldiers are outside of the orchard, and just like random people's posts and stuff. And I was like, oh, unless they're like holding it, like the Taconis, like they've already done their thing. Like that was in the past. So, yeah. Piratey says, anyone else rewatching the Overture to prep for the Schemers table? If so, don't forget about the Half Schemers appearance in episode 11. Good call. If you guys didn't see, I made a post today. I have made my episode notes available. However, I didn't know that I was going to do recaps until after episode 1. So I have now made it available. You have to be a member on YouTube or a patron on Patreon. But if you are either one of those, you have access to my notes doc. So if you want to be able to read through the notes that I took, not exceptionally well formatted, it is my, as it was written. I didn't go in and like structure it for you. It is my thoughts and my notes as I'm watching the episodes. You have episodes 2 through 18. All the notes are in there. You can open the doc, you can copy paste it, filter, however you want to do it. Now, I use that a lot of the time when you guys ask questions. I'll control F and I'll search the term, and then I can find the section and what episode and stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in getting that, become a member here on YouTube, and then one of my latest posts for members only is a link to the doc, or go to Patreon, and one of my latest posts there, if you become a paid patron, is that. So if you guys want access to my notes that I use to make my recaps, then that is that. They're essentially my recaps in written form. I really want to know how things turned out. Also, Scott, what's up? Welcome in. With the pixies on the rabbits that the soldiers sent to help the crazy old guy with his garden. Whoa, you're calling Olbin Morn the crazy old guy? Not cool, Scott. Dag says, if I was working for the Halavars, assuming they are looking to take over Dalmakiar via military coup, I would distract Timony with internal strife, such as Lux calling King a tyrant. That's true. The Lux did, they are trying to imply that the king is a bad guy, and the Halavars are trying to take over. Trivia. At the Aussie's execution, Belair had an empty seat next to him. I wonder, who stood him up, or did I miss something? Did he say he was stood up or was supposed to have somebody with him? For some reason, I feel like that might have been a thing. I wonder if yeah. It's a good question. Daniel says, the Cormorants are interested in getting the Pariah Blades to kill Celestials, so presumably they know something about either the Halavar Celestial or the Taconis playing a great one. Agreed. Yeah, they definitely, they got an interest in the Pariah Blade, so something's going on. And they specifically asked if it could kill a Celestial. Taryn says, I think I enjoyed the Seekers most when they were actually seeking. The first few episodes where they were just traveling had some good bits, but I liked when they mostly Octus were actively trying to find something. Answers, Aligar, etc. Yeah. Daniel says, yes, Mara was the Falcon at the execution. The clues were all there. That's why Univir was so freaked out by that news. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So as soon as I heard that, I had it in my notes. I have it in my copy of the notes, not the one that I've made public, because normally I'll put like video ideas in there, and in all caps, I was like, Mara is the Falcon. Like, yeah. I liked both, but the Seeker storyline felt rushed. I know Brennan's other stuff is shorter series. Maybe he's just not used to long-form storytelling. I think there's a number of factors when it comes to that. In this house, Obed Morn is a hero. Exactly. Obed Morn is a hero. If anybody hasn't already filled out that poll, though, definitely feel free to go check that out on my page on YouTube and participate in the poll. So I know I get a better idea. Right now, I mean, it's 300 something votes for who liked what more. 340. So, yeah. But yeah, for anybody who's just tuned in, the idea for this stream was to just talk about everything that's happened, talk about the soldiers, the seekers, both of them, where the story's at, ask questions about bits of lore, theorize, talk about what the schemers might be doing, and things like that. And we're gonna do that for a bit, and then I'm gonna play Solasta 2, the new I always say similar Baldur's Gate 3 similar game, because they're both CRPGs. They're both fantasy. They're both based in Dungeons and Dragons. So I'll be playing that. It just early access came out today. But first, we're going to talk Critical Role for a bit more. Those blades will come in handy going forward if our boys can get their hands on them. Paul says, the challenge for the new table is unlike most parties. There are going to be more solo actors interacting with NPCs and then bringing things back to the core group. Well, that's what we think is going to happen. And I don't necessarily think you're wrong. We just don't know. Like, maybe it's gonna be a surprise. Because I said before, if it's like, oh, they all go off individually to like their jobs, that's like, these episodes are just gonna be so, it's just gonna be like 3 people sitting at the table doing nothing for an hour, and then they swap to another person and everybody else sits for an hour, and then they swap to another, right? Like, that's not gonna be, like, I don't think that's good for playing, and I don't think that's good necessarily for viewing all that much. So I feel like they have to have come up with a way to make it good for an audience, because they can't just play like a normal game. Like, they have an audience in mind, so they need to figure that out. So I'm curious how it'll happen. Astro, what's up? I also wondered if the Seekers were rushing because they were afraid that someone was coming from the entrance that the Seekers entered from. What made you think that? Scott says, the Seekers just spent too much time talking to and about Octus, and it made things feel like it was being drug out. I agree. So luckily that kind of stopped somewhat in episode 17 or 18. But then, there was also, they had their own issues. But holy smokes, man. Like, the number of times, I said in one of my recaps, it was either episode 16 or 17. I was like, I'm so tired of them bringing up Octus dying and then being confused by it and not knowing what the Taconis are doing. Like, they've said it like 30. Every time they'd get together, they'd be like, we don't know what their plan is. Octus came back and that shouldn't happen. It's like, yes. You guys have all said this. This is the 17th conversation. The exact same conversation. Wasn't there life draining coming? Yeah, there was like a necrotic aura that was going to do damage the longer you were in it. I think they could have rested for an hour, like a short rest, I think would have been doable, but yeah. Slavic says, after this last episode, I need 2 things from campaign 4. A Tisha vs. Octus PvP and a Wick and Tayor romance. Where did the Wick and Tayor romance come from? Dag says, I think it's going to be them trying to build the mercenary army and then having some fights with certain people trying to stop them from doing that. Yeah. Do we think that Belair's actually going to be able to like siphon off funds to like get an army? Bo and Arrow says, I'll back Wick and Tayor romance. Okay. Unlucky says, no. What Octus is supposed to be insane, so ignore them from mentioning it. I'm not saying mentioning it is a problem. I feel like the whole conversation in its entirety was rehashed too many times. That's my thing. Like, I understand that it's like, again, when the druids were like, whoa, this guy's an abomination. Cool. Rehashing the entirety of his family did this, and his family, we don't know what their plan is, but we think we thwarted it, but we don't know how we thwarted it, and we know that this, but they had a plan, and this was part of it, and it got messed up, and doing that every single time, over and over, and that was where I was like, okay. And then the weird thing was, like, they were doing it even when it wasn't telling a new NPC about it. Like, when they would bring it up, they would rehash it all again. And that part was getting me. I understand, like, yeah, Octus is this wild thing. It's a joke from last week's ad. Sam and Travis did a ridiculous bit during. Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, I didn't get it because I didn't watch the ads. Piratey Steve says, random thought. Having a Condescent Creed mercenary group might not be terrible if Wick takes control of his family eventually. Then he'll have the mercenary group. Wick will control an army. Allie, what's up? Hi guys, was not expecting live today. Yeah, I wasn't. So, I mean, last time they took a week off, I didn't do one. But today I was like, it's the end of an arc. There's plenty to talk about. What the heck? I'll go live for a bit and we'll just kind of catch up. We'll talk about Critical Role. We'll do whatever. So I'm here. We've been live for 50 minutes. I said earlier I'm going to do this for a bit and then I'll probably swap and start playing Solasta 2 Early Access because I haven't played that yet and it came out today, which I'll keep streaming for. So if anybody wants to check it out or just wants to support and stick around, go ahead. But we're going to still talk about Critical Role for a little bit. And again, if anybody hasn't already, click that thumbs up button. Click that thumbs up button if you're on YouTube. Type something in the chat to help me with the algorithm. DK, thank you for the follow on Twitch. If you're on TikTok, double tap your screen to help me out. And if you are on, oh no, if I check this and I missed everything. No, never mind. I was seeing messages already. I thought I had forgot to update my TikTok chat. What was I saying? Double tap if you're on TikTok. If you're on Twitch, do give me a Prime sub. Or if you have Amazon Prime, therefore you have Twitch Prime and you're on YouTube, twitch.tv/NERDCOREGG. Give me a Prime sub. They're paying him to build an entire wing. They basically gave him a blank check. He could easily build some kind of force. Slavic says it's cold open, but I could fully see Tisha take a turn and convince herself. Hey, Curse, or Ali, thank you for following on Twitch as well. Further down the line, that Octus came something she has to stop. That would be interesting. It would be a huge turn. Daniel said, Valix did have a good combat in the last episode. That was one redeeming thing for a character in this arc. Yeah, she finally did have... she finally did have some success in combat. That crit was really good. I did see somebody, point out that, like, she Vow of Enmity'd that round, so, like, she couldn't have also smited or something, but, like, it is what it is. She had a crit with the Vow of Enmity and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Ad break. Sorry. No worries, Slavic. I don't know what the O is for, David. I think the soldiers were asking for more checks to find stuff out rather than rehashing Octa's story. Maybe that's where the lore dump happened, as instead of asking for checks, they went in circles. It felt like the Seekers went in circles a lot. Tisha's growing discomfort with Octus wasn't wrong. The audience knows he's good, but the players don't. Players do, but are not supposed to. See, I don't completely agree with that. And from what I've seen, just, and this is not to be like, hey, everybody thinks you're wrong at all. But so many people agree that it felt out of place and forced because it is such a shift from how she was. I mean, she was wholeheartedly with her full chest defending this man, stepping in front of blades for this man, trying to stop the druids and, I mean, everything. And then, like, the next day she's like, you know what? I'm going to start questioning you. I'm going to start getting upset with you. I'm going to start blaming you and it was like, what? Like, if she would have had some sort of thing towards the beginning of being uncertain and being a maybe, but it was like, I mean, she would have died for that man after she knew that he was supposed to be dead and he had, stitched up and, like, she already knew all that, and she was still like, I will die for you, I trust you with everything, whatever. And then just, never mind, I don't trust you. Hey, Julian, we should look and watch this guy, I'm not sure. Like, it was a huge change up. The reason I gave out the suggestion is because I think one of the characters mentioned that they were cautious about someone coming from behind. Oh, okay, no worries, Astro. Yeah, I remember somebody saying that they were worried somebody might come in. Dex, I'm surprised that Marie is getting walked all over in her job when we found out recently that she was a big part developing the Pentaveret world. Yeah, I mean, being a big part is one thing, like in helping, which was interesting to know because I also didn't know that. Hey, Leah. But at the same time, the dean is the dean, and I doubt she's the one funding it now, right? Like, it's probably, I mean, clearly the Revolutionary Council has a lot of power there now, and the Taconis and them are a part of that. So. To jump down to Sir Nerdalot saying I took it as being stressed about her son. Fair. I can understand some of that. Just like if it was random lashing out in general and then her letting the audience know things in the sense of like, or the other characters like afterwards being like, I'm worried about Alligar, or I really want to find Alligar. I think that is a way to do it where it's like I'm lashing out because I'm stressed and I'm worried. And then I'm letting you know in a way, this is why. So I understand that may have played a role, but it all felt targeted to one person and specific, but it was a complete 180, which is what threw me off. Gameplay later. Yeah, David, we're going to try for that. Emma asks, if you joined this campaign, what class and race would you throw into the mix? For some, I'm trying to think of something they don't like already have. I guess I could be a cleric. Be a cleric. I could be another bard. I'm not gonna be a paladin. They have enough of those. In terms of species, maybe a halfling. I don't know. How you doing? I'm doing all right, Leah. How are you doing? I actually, Boneyard, that was my first thought was rogue because I just keep making rogues. Like I just made a rogue in the latest game that I just needed to make a character for because we got TPK'd last week. So I made a rogue. I really enjoy playing rogues. What is this? Pirates says in relation to schemers, I wonder if they'll investigate the Royce's farewell party in person. Maybe there's a big clue there. Maybe not. Well, maybe they will find something, but we do know that Taconis cleaned up the scene. Scott says, I do not trust Tisha. No specific reason for it. Sorry, I gotta catch up. I just get some real backstabber vibes from Tisha. There is something shady in her backstory we do not know yet. Okay. She plays that character very all or nothing, it feels like. I agree. It definitely feels like she lives in the extremes. Pirates says, I don't fully trust Hal. The Taconis and or Halavar family gave him that theater very recently. Bribe? Payment? I don't know. That would really throw me for a whirl. Like, that would be incredibly shocking. Tricky says, I think Tisha is just developing feelings of jealousy with Octus getting closer to Valus, which would also just be kind of nuts. But, I mean, anything's possible. Daniel says, if Tisha's so stressed about Alligar, it makes their decision to go back to Demakiar even harder to understand. She was on the warpath and she was fine with giving up on finding him. Yeah, I agree. We need a hound class race. That would be good. Imagine if they come up and they put in the book the hound species. You're not like a bipedal dog. No, you are a straight up dog. I think they will. I think if they do a source book for Ahriman, the hounds will be in it. 100% the hounds will be in it. They should be. You'll be playing a dog. A magical dog that was once a knight reborn. Dag says, finding out more about the truth about the Ozzy's death will be something I'm hoping for in the Schemers table too. Heck yeah. The boy 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 0. Welcome in. Says also felt like they made all. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try this again. Also felt like they all made Octus excuse every step he took, but also be the one they all leaned on for decisions is very weird. Yeah, but it also felt like Octus or Alex was the one trying to actively figure things out and make sense of stuff. Partially, though, not to, be like, oh, he was doing all. He was the one who freaking rolled like a 23 to a 30 on like every check. Every check. So he was the one who had all the info and started like trying to make sense of it. Dan says, also welcome in, Dan. Good to see you again. Agree, Seeker's arc seems rushed and likely will not appear in the next episode. There was President and episode 11 were all tables featured, with half an episode for the soldiers to tie up loose ends. Yeah, but that was because that session ran over. They were that, like, when we came back and we saw the first half of episode 11 or whatever, they same clothes, same point. They just kept going. Ali says, unfortunately, Abria's way of playing and DMing always seemed a bit random to me. She always switches so fast between her way of approaching other characters. Yeah, again, I think she lives in the extremes, which can be a little bit jarring. I said some stuff earlier to defend her in some ways, because a lot of people are like, oh, she's in the spotlight. Oh, she's in the spotlight. Oh, she's talking this, and oh, she did this. But a lot of these times, it is not her choosing to or taking it. It is being given to her. Velas bringing her in and handing her the reins for the entirety of the Speak with Dead thing was not her choice. She didn't decide to enter that scene. That scene was given to her. She didn't decide that Brennan was going to make his world filled with people who think being a Loy and being a druid of the old path is insanely cool and popular and legendary. So everybody wants to talk to her. All the druids want to talk to her. Like, those are all things that are not on Abria, right? Dill, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate that. So, you know, I said this earlier, for anybody, try to keep that in mind, that when it feels like she's in a lot of it, it's not always her doing it. Just keep that in mind to try to be fair. I'm not saying you have to love her or anything like that. I'm just saying try to be fair. And that wasn't towards you, Ali. I was just repeating something I said earlier. Because I agree with you on that. It seems like that it's living in the peaks and the valleys, not a lot of in between. Hound Rogue would be cool. That would be cool. Sir Nerdlaw. Oh yeah, and then they don't go after me either, or are they? Where were they going? They were deciding to go back to Dalmakiar and just like give up on it. They're not going to the orchard. They're not going to find Aligar in the wilds. They're just like, oh, we'll just go back to Dalmakiar. Now I think they're going to stop at Castle Torch on the way, and we'll get a cold open of maybe them figuring some stuff out. But yeah. Deb says, was Thiazi's body buried? Could Velas speak with him when she gets back to Dalmakiar with the new abilities? That is a great question, Debs. That is a great question. We don't know, because all we saw, or last we saw, I believe, was that it was just the orcish funeral rites. He was on that table, stones, and all that sort of stuff. Don't know after that. So that's a good question. I don't know if Brennan might say there's a time limit for the night song. His soul is already like gone, so you can't like bring it from the in between. So I don't know. And you said sweet shirt. Thank you. 2 stories, 1 love. Terrence says, surely if you were to start playing now, you would choose a bird person, if only for the bit. Fair. Dax says, in the Schemers table, we will know everything in the city the way Brendan does. Yeah. Or the way Brendan does it. Yeah. So, cremate him, eventually bury him at the Hallowed Round Theater. Dana says, pour one out for Dame Gaia. She was a good Ceramite, bounds out her evil cousin. Yeah. Yeah. No, rest in peace to Dame Gaia. So I thought she was dead when the fight opened and she got like stabbed in the chest by this thing and like flown up. I was like, oh, there she goes. And then all of a sudden she took a turn and I was like, she's alive. She's alive. And then the guy went again and I was like, nope, she's dead. She's dead. Yet it is says, I wonder if part of Tisha's about face when it comes to Octus could be that the other druid's misgivings about him got to her and made her feel like she was going against her people. For him, also possible. See, but if I guess one of my things with this, because there's a lot of potential points and valid points for a lot of these things. I want some way, maybe not directly, but in some way, her to make those things clear. I think when you're presenting to an audience, you need to make sure to a degree your audience knows where your head's at. So they know. Oh, yeah. Again, if she would have, after going off on Octus, been like, look, I'm worried about Aligar. I'm stressed. This is all too much. Then we all go, okay, we know why she had an outburst. She has said it. We know where it's, but when we don't, like, people are trying to fill in gaps and do whatever, but if, it also leaves the other side of it. We're all like, it doesn't make sense. So that's kind of my take on it, I guess. Let's see. Emma says, the amount of things Tisha has going on, her son Octus hating Julian, Oxus doesn't hate Julian, right? Julian hates Oxus. She's a fiercely protective mother. It all makes sense morbidly. Maybe I just want to see who is when she's lost everything. That I imagine she blows up. The boy says, also feel like they're slightly rushing because of paternity leave for being maybe more relaxed. Well, at the same time, they've recorded. Somebody said that there was something, whether it was in the recap or whether it was in the episode, that apparently these, like the last 17 or 18, was recorded around Christmas. Or in December. Sorry, not necessarily around, in December. Which means they have a backlog probably for like 2 or 3 months. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I personally think they are probably, if they haven't already, they are probably already a full arc further. And I don't mean for one table. I mean for everybody. I think they're potentially that far in. I think they are months of episodes ahead. Speculation, though. Speculation. Dill says, of course, only polite and right. Heck yeah. I've been watching some of your YouTube vids, and yeah, kudos. Been loving them. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I'm guessing we're talking about some campaign force here, but yes, we are. That is what we are discussing. We're doing a little catch up. Normally, I do a pre-show, Dill, every Thursday, 7:45 p.m. Eastern until 9:45 p.m. Eastern. I do a pre-show where we talk Critical Role. Tonight, instead of doing that, we're just doing a catch up because it's a conclusion of 2 arcs. We're discussing the tables, stuff like that. But normally I would be streaming around this time. I started earlier tonight. I can't believe they didn't even look for clues to where the other bear guards went. Yeah. David said, I feel like Brennan worked with PCs to develop lore like with Wick, so it's possible she did make Drew. Well, yeah. I mean, he'd probably say, here's my idea, and then, like, yeah. Will Dr. Talter stay with the Seekers from here on out, or do we think she will part from them when they return to the city? I don't know. That is a good question, though. That is a good question. I don't know. I think Brennan is really liking having an NPC to lore dump with for the Seekers. So it's certainly possible. And she fits in decently well. Yeah, I'm not blaming her for being put in the spotlight. I am also not an anti-fan of her. She just struck me as quite a random person agreeing with the stream. But yeah. I felt so bad for Dame Gaia. Yeah, she got rocked. Also, wasn't the Schemers only about 48 hours after the funeral? So by the time that the Seeker soldiers come back, it would be like a month after the funeral. Well, I think the soldiers are like, yeah, I don't know. Without actually like looking at stuff, it's so hard sometimes to remember full timetables. I think somebody earlier said like the soldiers were like 10 days out, but it feels like way longer than that. But it could be. And then they're like right outside. They're like our last cold open, they were like a day away from Damakiar. So that's where I'm kind of confused how the cold opens will work or who they're going to use for the cold opens. Yeah. I don't know how they could possibly do the cold opens right now. Because they've made the timetables too close. The Seekers are like, or the Schemers were like 2 days after. At the same time, the cold open is going to have the soldiers arriving back at Dalmakiar 10 plus days later. So there's a 7-day difference between the people in the cold open being at the same place the Schemers are at. So like, bring on one episode of Solo Belair destroying everyone in that battle. Ms. Malicious says, Dame Guy got us like, yay! Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, oh, she's alive. She's alive. She actually didn't die to that. I thought she was dead when the combat started. And then, yeah, the very next turn the thing gets, it's like, yeah, you're dead. I was like, oh, okay. I forget what was the thing that Oxus did that freaked Tisha out. She shed in the cooldown, I think. Got someone at the castle. They had the final map for the Seekers table in the trailer for the Seekers. Wait, they had the final map for the Seekers table, the trailer for the Seekers, as in like the battle map? thing is, with Tisha, we know what's going on with her, just the other characters don't. So would it be real for her to open up to them so early meant she hates Julian? Well, I mean, to be like, again, when you're yelling at Octus, who you've traveled with, who you're friends with, who you deeply care about, who you brought back, and who you've defended, when you yell at him and then go, "Hey, my bad, I'm under a lot of pressure," like I think that's fair. Scott says Taisha's been all over the map with how she treats people, some of which is understandable, but also makes it really hard to like her as a character. Yeah. Again, some of it is understandable, and sometimes you're just like, what? Summer, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate that. Brandon made a Who Has joke and referenced it. Whatever big thing happens in a Makiar, I bet someone dies from one or more of the tables. I could see that. What's kind of shocking to me, and if any of you are feeling this way, it's totally valid, is the number of people who are like genuinely upset that nobody has died yet. Like wanting to stop watching because nobody has died yet. Like I agree to a point. They marketed it as being incredibly dangerous, and Brennan has like on one hand gone, hey, things aren't balanced, you could die, and on the other hand done everything he can do to prevent them from dying. So I can get it where it's like, oh well, he keeps saving them, but I guess to me, like that doesn't matter enough unless it's something just outright heinous, that I'm like, oh, this is terrible, I don't want to watch this anymore. But I have seen that more than I thought I would. I've seen people saying that. Daniel says Taisha was freaked out by Octus's intimidation of the druids and the effect he had on the surrounding environment. So that answers the question asked before. David says, I mean, they had to rush. So hard to allow her time to even let her share her intent and character. But that's kind of the problem right now. Everything is so railroaded, hard to give things time to breathe. Also valid to be like, it does feel like it's so boom, boom, boom. Yeah. The boy says, I think so as well, but I'm hoping that they just did this so there's no rush on their personal schedule and then loner episodes. Yeah. I don't know that there's going to be loner episodes. That'd be kind of crazy. But I do think they are very, very, very far ahead in terms of what they have recorded already, which is mildly disappointing. But also, you know, it is what it is. Boneyard says, Dr. Talter needs to meet Murray. I want to see that interaction. That would be fun. Murray and Dr. Talter would be fun. Dag says, both tables went a week out, so probably a week back, so 2 weeks when they all meet back up. Yeah, soldiers are on day 10 or 11. They should be in the city in the next few days in game. The last cold open, we were told they would be there. So before Wick's cold open, the hey Daniel, thank you for the super chat. I will read it in just a second because I'm responding to your message right now on something else. The cold open, the soldiers cold open we got with them at this place, they were supposed to make it like he said by end of day tomorrow you'll be at Dalmakiar. So they're a day away from Dalmakiar. And yet the schemers are hitting like day 3 inside of Dalmakiar. Them was already in, I believe, in their last cold open. Did they say that she had already flown in, or that was just the plan? Because I know in the plan, or in the episode with Teor and Temple's cold open, they had talked about it. Let me get to this. $5 super chat from Daniel. Brennan has come pretty close to killing off several of the characters already. He has been putting them in extremely dangerous combats. I agree. He has been putting them in very dangerous combats. I also think he has given them ways out or to survive or given leniency that has benefited them several times. And I think that's where people are like, okay, if you say it's going to be difficult and then you tease us and you market it with all of that, and then you show us difficulty, but then you keep giving them, you know, like ways out to that degree. And that's where people are clashing. Again, not a huge deal to me. I've said kind of from the get-go, I didn't expect anybody to die now. But it clearly upsets some people because some people are like, I don't want to watch because people aren't dying. Agree, doesn't make Tisha likable, but then Julian wasn't likable to begin with, but he has had opportunity to show more of an arc to understanding. Tisha's just stuck at one note at the minute. Yeah, and so we may get some change, and who knows, maybe she gets feedback from the producers or others and makes some adjustments. Maybe Velas gets some feedback. Maybe, right? Like, all these things are possible. They may do flashbacks with soldiers. Like, oh, that's very true. That didn't even pop into my head about the idea that they could actually do more flashback scenes. That's true. So they could help fill some of that gap with flashbacks. 100%. You're right. Yeah, and then Astro says maybe the soldiers will be doing the past, not present day. Yep. Yeah. I feel it's been months since we saw much of Liam. I'm looking forward to learning more of his character. Well, I think the reason I don't think his character has as much to learn. I think he lived more of a normal life that's not as exciting. I think that was intentional, right? Intentionally, he was like, I decided to just go raise a family and work and be an actor, a performer. I'm sure there's still stuff and there's going to be interesting, but I don't think his will have the same type of excitement as some of the others. Cold opens might be schemers dealing with job bureaucracy, so there won't be as much solo stuff in game. I doubt that they would do cold opens with the schemers while then going to the schemers, though. Scam because the body's hounds. To be fair, if he had rolled even middlingly well in the last fight, you could be. I said that in my video, Terry. I don't know if you've seen it, but in my video, I was like, yeah, if Brennan didn't roll bad, the Seekers died last week. Do we know for sure that one's dead that can't be brought back? Yes, it has basically been alluded to. I think outright said resurrection magic does not work currently. Which also throws me off with the memory scene of Tisha seeing her son fall and snap his neck and die, and then she used spare the dying. Because I'm like, but right? So he didn't die. Because spare the dying is stabilizing, or it keeps the body able to. The creature becomes stable. Yeah, so he wasn't dead. I guess he could have been dead, like becoming dead, but like her whole thing was you were watching somebody die and then he entered a state where she could just spare the dying him. Not a big deal, and I mean narrative, like it kind of threw me off for a second, but yeah. I don't care about deaths, but I care about the stakes, and with everything totality, there's not much stake for characters. So I don't know. Like, I feel like death has been there kind of lurking, but I also think they've kind of been saved from it. But in terms of stakes, yeah, I don't think we've been introduced as much to, like, you know, maybe with Hal, it's like somebody kidnaps his kids, then there's stakes. The Golden Orchard under attack, or Lady Aranessa gets captured, or something like those are all things that could be stakes. So maybe we'll get introduced to some more when it comes to that. Paul says, do we feel as if the Halavar Celestial can be as easily killed as the Takonis attempt? Is there a similar stone in Wick's grandfather? No, that is a natural Celestial. So a bone, one of his bones, would be what they would use to try to create one again. Like if they were to kill the Halavar Celestial, as far as I know, Atheon, they would be able to use his bones to try to create one in that ritual if they wanted to. Reed says, it makes for a more impactful loss when we've had time to develop a connection to a character. Pretty glad no deaths. Exactly. And that's why I agree with that to an extent, for sure. And I also believe that, you know, again, the opening arc, I didn't expect anything to happen. Brendan mentioned December during the episode. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So, I mean, what we just watched something in March that was recorded in December. I'll ship Mac Alter. Assumption is Soldier's Code opens will be flashbacks in the Schemer stable run. Fair. We need an actual Armand calendar with the weekday names, month names, and important holidays marked. That would be dope, Taryn. On Octus, she's unfortunately in mega stress and overreacting. Feels real to me as very human to be crappy sometimes. If we don't see the reflect on her behavior and calm down, then it's boring. Pyrity says, using help action to help yourself was really bad. I also was adamantly against that. And then you have the people who don't care about mechanics at all and are like, don't care. And then you have the people who are actually like, no, that makes sense. And to those people, I say, nay, it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't. Your saving throw is you attempting to resist the poison. You don't get to help yourself resist the poison. That is the saving throw. Right? You can apply that to anything. I'm going to help myself with this attack. No, you're not. Like, you're already trying to successfully attack. Help is something you do for others. So yeah. Not just use it, just give her a chance to show her 360 character over time. Could go either way. Yeah, and I hope that happens, Emma, honestly. Method AMV, welcome in, says, if I hear, just a reminder, this is a dangerous world and it's unfair and someone doesn't die, I'm not going to do anything, but it just feels lame. I think when you have that in combination with all the marketing and that they put out about it being so dangerous and rough, yeah, it does feel, he's like, hey, just throwing it out there. I would just remind her, this is dangerous, and here's something to save you, and here's something to save you. Yeah. But also not something that I'm like, yeah. If it comes up, I talk about it, but I'm not stressing it. Bear in mind, with the leniency, if someone dies, they are gone. There's no resurrection in this world at the moment. Yeah. But that was, again, that's what they marketed, was like, it's a dangerous world where people will die and you don't get to come back. You need another character. They knew that. We know that. Yeah. Stephanie says, hey, Nerdcore, there's also a marketing thing. You can't kill characters now because there is probably some merch in the works. I agree, and I also hate every aspect of that. This is one of those things where sometimes you try to... I'm going to be honest. When I'm watching and when I'm doing this, I'm trying to forget that this is so produced and structured and created that it's like you're watching something make-believe that is actually make-believe. And when you think about it, that blows. So I just try not to think about it, right? Like, I just try not to think about the fact that we're watching them play D&D, but like, it's probably a lot more structured and not real D&D in some way, right? And that, yeah, characters might not die because there's merch or there's art that they don't have, or there's like bits and pieces that impact that are outside the game. Like they're business decisions that are impacting what's happening with the game. And so I just try to forget those things are real. Do we think there will be a new intro after the final group's arc? I hope so. I also hope so. I'd love a new one. I really do. I mean, I skip it. So I didn't like it when I watched it when they announced it, and I skip it every week. So yeah. Of course, it's in your review. I look forward to the member. Hey, well, I don't mean the recap. I did an episode review. I do my recaps, of course, every week. I haven't reviewed every episode. I think I've done 2 reviews. Maybe I should do them every week. Give me another video to make. See, Mama Hun, welcome in. Hey, good to see you. I just think the balance is a little off, and that world is so serious all the time. When I play D&D, I don't mind some seriousness sometimes, but I need levity incorporated too. I agree. And again, that's where, people like different things. But I feel like traditional D&D, like the average game you're going to join, is not played the way the Seekers played. I've never been in a game where everybody sat at the table in hushed voices, serious tones, talking slowly for 2 hours. I just haven't. Like I just had a scene as a dungeon master where it was epic. Oh, these last 2 sessions I've run are in my top 5 easily. These last 2 sessions, I loved them. There was real stakes. A player lost his mother, that they were killed by somebody that was once a member of their party, like that they trusted, like all this. The safe place, the place that they were going, was under siege from forces, and people were dying in the streets. There was all this. There was combat. There was skill challenges. There was heartfelt watching this character's mother be killed in a place he couldn't get to her. He couldn't reach her by somebody he trusted, and all the. So it had seriousness and drama and all that, but it wasn't like 2 hours of slow drawn out. It was like this moment happens, all these things right? And then you go, and then somebody cracks a joke and somebody makes light of that, or some, like That's, to me, is D&D, is that real feeling, which I feel like you saw in other campaigns with them. It just, the Seekers were so serious all the time. Like, the soldiers, I didn't take breaks because it had ebbs and flows. Serious, funny, serious, adventure, serious, skills, you know, introduction to new NPC. This was like serious. Boop, serious. And it just, yeah. Yeah. All right. Let me catch up on chat. I'm sorry. I think it was more of a near-death experience. Yeah. Path the ladder to save Aligar and Octus. Hard question. Assume all survive knowing we haven't seen schemers, but who do you want to get final shot on final boss at the end? Whoever that is. Only with what we know, who you're rooting for. Ooh. Who do I want to get... Who do I want to get the final blow on? It's so hard because it's like... We don't even know who the final boss is. Clearly, if it's Primus Deconus, it's got to be Julian or Octus. If it's one of the gods, maybe Wick. But I don't know that Wick would go for that. Oh, yeah, I'm going to say that for now. Method says, I don't imagine there will be any crazy deaths or game-altering events until we're done with this last table. Agreed. Just has for fun right now with nothing to go on. That's fair. That's fair. I'd like to see something official on the Daredevil subclass. I hate how they introduce these classes with no ground rules and then start performing these extra attacks or feats. Yeah, and he tries to explain it, which I appreciated. When he was like, I'm doing this, and it allows me to do this. I'm like, cool, love that. Still don't know what the heck's going on or what your subclass is. And, you know, I would love more. I agree with you. Ali says, I mean, they apparently reinvented magic in the last 70 years, so I suspect resurrection might be possible in the future. Well, they didn't reinvent it. They learned how to kind of study it, right? They learned how to like expand it because you had sorcerers already able to do it with the main families. Yeah. Do we think filament is the reason the ritual wouldn't work on the Halovars? I'm thinking maybe, yeah. I am thinking that could very well be it because they are with that, then they have celestial blood in them, and you don't use a celestial to make a less celestial, right? It's supposed to be the heart of like a humanoid worshiper versus like somebody with celestial blood. Or it could just be that secretly the Halovars are not one of his following, right? He said like it has to be one of my following, but at the same time, Dacona's ain't his following anymore either. So I guess that wouldn't work. Self-help actions are wild. Yeah. Yep, feels so produced. Yeah, with what I was saying before. Ooh, don't say that. Sorry, DJ. A new D&D book in 2026. A self-help book. Lol. One Shot says, I think Brennan is going to give every table group one lifeline. We saw this with the soldiers table last fight, and Brennan explaining how tough the fight is. And again, for the last fight for the Seekers. So we may see the same for the Schemers, perhaps. See, so good. Different with Starstruck Odyssey. Reed says, looking forward to a new intro soon as well. Need another great earworm of an intro to the last two campaigns. I've said this every time this has come up. I've said this every time it's come up. I think an intro song, a singable intro theme song, is a peak part of Critical Role culture. As somebody who was not immensely ingrained in the culture at all in Campaign 1, Campaign 2, even Campaign 3, I was at the live show in Indianapolis where they announced Campaign 4. But prior to that, the epicness of being in an arena full of people, fans of Critical Role, singing the theme song together, hundreds, thousands, people singing that song together, cultural phenomenon. Like, that was so epic that I'm like, it's such a big part of their thing. They need one. They need one. That was so cool. That was so cool. It was better with the Soldiers table. As in, you enjoyed the Soldiers table more? The boy says, I also feel like this production over D&D started somewhere halfway through Campaign 3 and can't unsee it. Still enjoyable, but different than CR beginning. 100%. 100%. And I wish, you know, I have tried to, on more than one occasion, I did it again today. I have tried to reach out to them for interviews and stuff because I've seen all these other people getting interviews. Character Sheet interviewed like everybody. A bunch of other people have done it. I've tried sending emails. I've filled out the contact us form. I've done all this stuff. One of the questions I want to ask them is kind of, you know, do you regret it all moving in this direction? do you see the difference in what you're doing now? And do you think that is truly what people want? And to just discuss, not to blame or point fingers but to discuss and be like, do you understand that this is different? And people are noticing it's different. It doesn't feel like it's a group of friends playing D&D anymore. It doesn't. Like, it doesn't to me. Again, that's a me feeling. I know I'm not alone in that. And so I would be curious to have that conversation with them. Hopefully they'd be open and honest about it. And be like, hey, yeah, because, you know, it became this thing and blah, 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 blah. But, yeah. I'm hoping this Gamers Table is more community. I think they will be, Astri. I think they will. And I think people really, I don't know who there underestimated the power of having some humor with your games. I think that's a massive part of Dungeons and Dragons. In any game I've ever played in, it's been a massive part. Because that's part of what makes it feel like you're playing a game with your friends at the table, right? Like me and my friends don't get together and just be melodramatic for hours on end with no fun. Like that's no, me and my friends do. But I also think we're going to have Murray there to help with that. I think Belair is a weird enough character that there will be some interesting moments there, but I think Murray alone will be able to bring some comedic value and her interactions, and hopefully Liam and others will kind of bounce off of that. Parody says, I feel like the Schemers table will have levity just because of the players involved. I agree. I skipped the current intro too. I never skipped the intro for campaign 4. I loved campaign 3. I loved singing along to it. C4 intro just doesn't compare. Agreed. Larry Clark, what's up, dude? Welcome in. Hello, good sir. It's good to be here again. Last campaign episode was crazy. Yes, it was. We call that super serious RP amongst my group. I've been tables like that. It's not for everyone. Yeah, again, I've had, you know, some serious-ish moments. I've had moments where, like, the weight feels heavy. I've had moments where a beloved NPC has perished. I've had a moment in a game where the group met a family traveling on the road and helped them by lifting their broken wagon or their wheel out of a hole that it got stuck in, and they get introduced to a mother, father, and their young daughter who had this beautiful little stuffed animal of a deer that she named Lo. And then they later on found that same stuffed animal in a burn room, half burnt with bones in there. And one of them took that stuffed animal and carried it all the way to the end of the campaign. And when they finally defeated the person in like a freaking volcano chamber responsible, they placed that stuffed animal on them and rolled them into the lava. Right? I've had that level of like drama and role play and series, but hours of just serious, low talking. It's a lot. It's just not that enjoyable for me. I cannot wait for Ashley to unleash her inner chaos. For now, she seems so unsure about the whole setting, which is part of the whole seriousness of the whole table. I agree. We did a lot of talking about that earlier, Allie, in that Velas has not played the game yet. And when she finally got her moment to play the game, by being the person who got to talk to Dead, she handed it to somebody else. Velas has been incredibly background in every regard so far. So I hope that changes. I hope that changes. Samuel says, it's more of a story you read in a book than Friday Night D&D. Yeah. How much of how things went with the Seekers is a result of how Matt is playing his character? Matt being who he is could unintentionally be influencing the other's gameplay. In what way, Scott? For me, the most evil NPC is Wick's mom. She's unhinged. I loved Wick's. You mean her grandmother, the Photarch. I loved her politicking. I loved her politicking and gaslighting. Sherry, hello. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on chat once again. I have fallen behind. Maybe Belair killing Julian's shadow and evolving into the best stage hand. Daniel says, the super seriousness of the Seeker's Table had a lot to do with how lore heavy this arc has been. The Eternal Night setting makes it even more grim. I agree. I totally understand why it is. It's just like... J-Friend says, the above table experience feels like it's sort of being stripped away. I'd argue that part of the D&D experience is just as important as what's going on at the on-table side. I think that's where I'm struggling. I agree with you. 100%. And I don't just mean like, for instance, as a dungeon master, you know, when let's say I'm running my game and my brother is getting distracted and he's showing somebody something on his phone in the middle of the game. I don't mean that kind of above the table, because that's like frustrating as a DM and somebody who's, you know, but engaging with each other about the story and the world and talking. It felt like with the Seekers, we didn't have any moments where it was them what did I say? I think it was episode 7 or 9 with the soldiers that I was like, that was my favorite episode. It felt the most like a Dungeons and Dragons game. It felt the most where the players were just left to discuss and figure stuff out and talk about things and make decisions and do all of that. And like, I was like, heck yes, absolutely. That's the one. And it felt like we really didn't get to get that with the Seekers. Deb says, I joined Critters on Campaign 3, episode 63, but I then went back and watched 1 through 62 between Fridays and Wednesdays. Sheesh. Sam was probably deep in Legend of the Vox Machina production and couldn't get a title song sooner, but I'm confident we'll get one. I hope so. I really do. Reed says, maybe that's why they haven't given you an interview yet. They know you may ask some uncomfortable questions. Well, I don't think they'd know that. I've never said anything like that out loud until now. But I've been really trying, you know, and I'm like, I've had decent success covering Critical Role, so I'm trying to be like, hey, I'm one of your creators. You know, I post 1 to 3 videos a week, long form, and then there's shorts in between. Like, I make a lot of content around it. I have a live stream. Like, will you guys talk to me, please? But I've had no luck. So if anybody knows somebody at Critical Role, let's get me in the door. Do you think changing to 2 tables or 1 with a few submissions would change anything? I would enjoy it more if we didn't have 3 tables, but that's a personal, like, that's not something that I'm like, I think they need to change. I would enjoy it more. PC death. Brennan has mentioned that Primus nearly killed Murray. Will solo PCs be in similar danger? Belair at Arcanaut, Azune with Heinfausen Spear. Completely possible. I don't know how much solo will get some of them. Like Murray, because that was during the Overture. But it's completely possible. Yeah. 70 says, I'm not a fan of the opening because CR spent a lot of money and time on that intro, and I doubt it will change until at least a year. They did. I mean, that was a whole performance and a half in that thing. And I just really don't like it. The biggest enemy of Campaign 4 is expectations. Also very true. Joseph, also very true. They brought in a lot of change and at one time, and it's very different. Dag says, the soldiers had a lot of fun with Pixies and the Hounds. The Seekers were too serious, but the big bird travel was pretty funny. I did enjoy the Giant Eagle. Maria by herself will carry the levity for the Schemers. Also, the Seekers had the Einfausen, which were also very funny. Kind of. The Einfausen had some fun moments, but all the fun was above table as well. Pudge says, yeah, Mercia will try to be the comedic relief, and I hope it works. Once again, hello, Sherry. I know I said that already. Paul says, I think this last table purely by dice roll has diminished the ominous nature of the Dakonis family and the comical triumph over the hail of our demons. To be honest, I would take shorter episodes twice a week featuring 2 tables rather than the current format. I hate that we only see 4 to 5 characters every week when I used to see everyone. Well, yeah, but now everyone is 13 people. Or players. Random thought. I hope the Demon Agony can be redeemed. She's a hoot. Bonus bird reference. Hoot. I don't think they will be. I think the Demon Sisters are eventually going to be at combat. Maybe not together. Matt is playing super serious, very mission driven, and that is influencing how others are playing. When you have a character like that, is influence others unintentionally. Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's kind of where he was at with it. But I think in the last episode, maybe even some in 17, but mostly 18, I think Julian was doing it because Matt was trying to move the story along. I think Matt was like, hey, I've done nothing for an hour of sitting at this table. We need to move. We need to go. And so he was like, I'm going in. I'm doing whatever. Because they were all in a way very like, we have missions to be on. I mean, they weren't there necessarily for Matt or Julian, right? They were there for finding Alligar. Emma says, Wick's grandma ripping off Belair's mask would be fun for Wick. True. Seekers could have really benefited from a silly guy coming from someone who really enjoyed the Seekers. Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I think it would be very hard for anybody to make an argument that they didn't need somebody there to make a little light of some situations. Done tactfully, not like a Sam Riegel style necessarily, but like a tactful, just somebody who's a little more jolly and makes light of stuff or tries to see like the positive in situations versus a bunch of people who are just like, meh, 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 meh. I think I heard Mersha say in an interview that one of the reasons they don't have a proper intro yet is because they wanted to see how the story went and felt at the table. And that's fair. That makes total sense. Emma says, your commentary is great, and I feel for you having to caveat your opinion sometimes, but you're never rude. It's critical eye and honest, which I'm sure would love. Yeah, so I will say, I just edited my video today, my review, because some guy took it and put it into his like thing that like spits out like feedback. And the feedback was like, your caveat was like 50 seconds long. And so I went and I cut out a large chunk of my disclaimer at the start of my review where I'm like, hey, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Like there's some stuff in here. If you're one of those people who can't hear criticisms of Critical Role, and I went on and I was like, I still like it. I still, I honestly feel like with the fandom, I need to do that. I do. But I heard the feedback and was like, yeah, I guess I did spend 40 seconds trying to get people to not attack me for my video. So I probably could have done less. So I went and edited it in the YouTube thing and cut out like 18 seconds of that or something like that. So, but I try to be very fair, Emma, and I'm glad it comes across that it's all with some sort of like, here's my idea of this, here's where my mind's at with it, logically, here's how it makes me feel, and then I'll occasionally throw in like I understand if maybe you don't. This is how I feel sort of thing. But I'm glad some people liked the review. Yo, what's up, Grim Knight? It also makes sense for Julian's character, so I have no issue with it. Julian would also be like, less yap, more action, and I'm all with it. All roads leading back to Damakia are now. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but... Murray style saying stop beep and let's fix it, get on with it would have helped. It's very true. Very true. David said meh 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 lol. I'm not sure what the mehs are for. It's so hard to keep up because I'm sure like you're responding to something and I should know what that thing is, but I've read so much that now I'm like Daniel says, I've been watching the Calamity series and I would love to see Lou Wilson join this campaign. Everybody has said that. Like the number of people who are like, I want to see him in here. I also really mean to watch Calamity. I need to find a time to jump in and really watch that. Good for you. Stand by your opinions. I totally get that impulse, so don't worry about it. But that's what feedback is for. It's a gift. People want to see us criticism. That's their problem. That's fair. That's fair. Maria, hey. Is it Mariah? I don't know. Have we gone over this before? I hate calling people the wrong thing. If I'm saying Maria and it's Mariah, I feel like because it has an H on it, it's Mariah. I'm going to go with that. Mariah Gilmore. Hi, everyone. I wasn't a fan of the Seekers table. I think to me it felt like that group wasn't right chemistry-wise. I mean, love the Soldiers table because the group felt lively, yet had its moments. Agreed. I mean, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. That is how I felt about the Seekers. I was not a huge fan. To me... Like, if I was to rate it's hard, because I'm trying to be as fair as possible. If I was to rate the Seekers personally, I kid you not, for me, it's like a 3 or a 4 out of 10. I really did not enjoy the Seekers. I liked the lore. I did not like the lore delivery. I did not like the progression of the story. I didn't like the character interactions all that much. I didn't like the NPCs. Like if I'm holding it up against the Soldiers to a degree, which I'd give like maybe a 7.5 or an 8. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. Great if they make a Calamity movie. Well, you've seen that they've been talking about that. They've been talking about that. They're the rumor mill. CR fans, including myself, can be rabid. We have years invested in multiple hobbies we care about involved. Exactly. And so I get that. Nobody wants, and I also think it's partially why some people, and this is me theorizing, speculation, purely like psychological speculation, is I think some people may not actually like Campaign 4 or the Seekers as much as they will say they do. But it's like when you love something for so long that you just simply can't acknowledge if it's different or if it's wrong or if you don't like it. Like you feel like you can't. Like, you have to defend it, and you have to love it, and you have to say it's whatever, even if you don't really, you know, because you're so invested in it. But that's just me. When is the best night to watch Calamity? As soon as possible. It's so good. Okay, I'll do it. Mariah like Mariah. That's what I thought. The biggest issue with Lou is his schedule. Jim Kimmel alone eats up a lot of time. Hey, Dr. Calvin. I think the difference in interaction with Ashley was best demonstrated when she played with Robbie and Laura fighting the thieves. She engaged and interacted and moved Valus like a... Well, that's the other thing, is she's completely swapped who Valus is. And I said this before we really even got to the Seekers. I was like, episode 1 through maybe 3 Valus? Oh, yeah. Like, it was unique. It was cool. It was different. And then everything since has been like very soft. Every time something happens, her and Tisha do like a, are you okay? Are you okay? And like, there's just this like gentleness in this, yeah. I liked episode 1 through 3 Valus more than the rest. Because part of what gave her personality was that fierceness that she could use in other places. And I feel like she's kind of declawed herself in some ways. Bearable says, I feel like the players are sometimes the NPCs in their own story, relegated to the background by the story, heavily directed by Brennan. Too produced and railroaded for my taste. It had, it's one of those things that I can't argue against. Like, when somebody says something like that, I can't argue against it, because in some episodes, like, the amount of words Brennan is saying instead of players is astounding. And it's all fed in a way, and so do I think it's going to be like that forever? I hope not. But do I understand the number of times I've seen similar comments like that now? I do. Mama Hunt says, I've been thinking about the intro. There's a ship indicating that some sea time is a big part of it. How do you think this is going to integrate into the game? Well, they've already said one of the locations, I'd have to look in my notes, but one of the locations was like in a sea of some kind, where like the fog was so thick and they heard people calling for help, but there was nobody there and all that. So perhaps they eventually travel there, and that's where that comes into play. Nurik says, do you think the Seekers table doesn't work well since 3 of the 4 players are DMs? To a degree, yes. Because I think DMs tend to play in a certain way where they add intensity to a lot of the things they do or say. And so they're all bringing that level of intensity. And when you have 3 people all being intense, it's very tense. So yes, I think to a degree that may have an impact. I do like the dynamic between Julian and Octus. I do think they're potential Octus and Valus because they have those moments when they don't sleep, feels like they can be close. Yeah. I'm with it. Maybe they'll do a cold open as an epilogue like they did with Taylor and Thimble. Yes, Rubber Room. We kind of talked about that earlier because I was wondering how they were going to do these cold opens with the timelines, and they'll probably do flashbacks. Stephanie says, my problem with the Seekers was that I felt Valus didn't fit. I love the idea of the character, but she doesn't fit anywhere yet. It's so awkward. I said that quite a few times during the episodes, that like it felt like she came in with such a strong purpose. Such a strong purpose, such a strong personality, distant, cold, firm, very driven, powerful aura. And then like all of that's gone. Like it feels like all of that just went away, and very suddenly. And so I feel like that's left her feeling a little loosey-goosey, in the grand scheme of things. So I understand what you're saying there. Scott says, overall, I like the Seekers, but I did feel like at times they needed to move it along a little faster. They lingered on weird things at weird times. Agreed. Dill says, I honestly can't get into campaign 4. I tried, but because the episodes are so long and especially early, a lot of exposition, I think it takes a lot of brain power to keep track or keep locked in, especially if English is not your primary language. I had to replay episode 1 and 2 3 times each just to catch all the nuances and where people were at what events, etc. So my feedback there, well, one, I will tell you, the episodes get shorter. They move into a point at some ways in, at least almost every episode of The Seekers, 3.5 hours. Which is still long, but they're not 4.5, 5 hours. They're 3.5. And that includes like the ad segment at the start and the cold open. So there's that. The other thing and this is somewhat of a self-plug here. If you watch it once and you're like, okay, I don't want to go through another 3.5, 4 hours, watch my recap. My recap will cover everything I think you should know about it. And I think, and people can speak to this, in an easily digestible way, easy to follow way. And they fall between about 15 and 25 minutes. So you don't have to commit another 4 hours. You don't have to watch a 4-hour episode 3 times. You watch it once, and then you watch a 20-minute recap or a 15-minute recap, and your answers are there. I also, and I'll plug this again for people who have tuned in, today I decided to make my recap notes public. Well, kind of, not completely public. If you become a member here on YouTube, so it's like $5 a month to become a member on YouTube, or you subscribe to my Patreon as a paid patron, you get access to my document that I take my notes in. So you get episode, because I didn't start recapping until episode 2. You get episode 2 through 18, and I will just keep adding to it. So if you're like, wait, who said that? Or what was that? You can go open my doc, Control F, and you can just find that spot. What episode did they say Mara in the first time? Control F, Mara. Oh, there was a Mara that got, arrested by the Cormorants. They said that in episode 16. Oh, Mara was mentioned earlier as well in this other one where they said this. And so you'll be able to search through and find stuff and read through it if you want. So if you don't want to have to do that, for anybody who's interested, become a member or subscribe that. You have complete access to my notes, and I'll keep updating it. So you'll get all the other recap notes as well. Just a little info for you. And it supports me, which is helpful. So you can also do that. All right. I'm trying not to pick favorite characters based on cast members, but the OGs are just so skilled. Of the new folks, Alex is my favorite. I agree so far. I really like Louise, though. Do I think, and this is I'm not a theater kid. So I will say that I'm not a theater kid. Do I think him going full out crying during his cold open scene with that was necessary? No. But I don't dislike. I think Louise is going to be awesome. I think he's going to deliver epic stuff. There's going to be fantastic things. But yeah. So I'm a fan of him as well. But Alex is cool. Least favorite shit stirs stuff in so many moments that are necessary. So I said this earlier, Debs, and I hate that I'm rehashing this for the third time. I think one thing you have to do to be fair when it comes to this, Debs, is think, did she insert herself or was the scene handed to her? For instance, Valus doing the Night Song thing, she didn't ask to get brought in and handed the reins. Ashley did that. Valus did that, right? Valus was like, oh, I'm bringing in Tisha. Tisha, here. And then she went and basically Valus stepped back and it was all Tisha. People see that go, oh, Tisha took a... No, Valus handed it to her. That's not Tisha or Abria's fault. All the scenes where, the druids want to talk to her. That's Brennan saying the druids want to talk to you. Right? You're a Loy, you're an ancient path. Everybody wants to some of these things are not her fault. And I think as long as you're fair, when you view it and go, okay, did she insert herself or did Brennan target her with questions? Target her with an NPC? Did Valus bring her into this? Those are things to think about when you do it. Not saying you have to like or not saying, but try to think of those things as well. Her following the guy who returned back from the dead when she wants to bring her back, family makes sense to me. No, I'm with you, Frank. I understand, but it feels like such a thin thread right now that it's not progressing in any way. But I don't disagree. Right now, her reason for being there, because a lot of people are like, oh, the purpose. Her reason is, hey, he came back from the dead. He also resurrected a fox. So maybe it'll help me figure out how to bring back my god or my family. Cool. But we're not working towards that actively, I guess. But I agree with you on that, Frank. I think Ashley is just to her core such a kind person. She just can't hold on to that grift and purpose and ultimately falls to back in service of the people at the table. Yeah, and that's what that kind of feels like. Octus is a fun, weird kid vibe. Very true. Vela says fit story-wise, like she's trying to understand the power of the stone. What happened to Octus? One of your god back. Personality-wise, Ash lost edge. She said she wanted to have. Yeah, the edge is gone. Pyrades says, timeline and thought. I believe King Gus should reach Dalmakiar before the soldiers. and the Seekers, correct. There could be chaos before the, that's exactly, we need, like, before the Seekers walk through the gates, something could have drastically changed that we'll find out with the Schemers. Dill says over on Twitch, oh, okay, yeah, that might help a ton. I also think I had a tough time because I'm especially a visual player. I have been watching your recaps to great joy, NERDCORE. Hey, thanks. So I will say kudos. That helps a lot. Appreciate it. I just want to get into the full episodes myself, but despite being pretty proficient in English, it is just tricky when a lot of information is spilled fast. Dill, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but if you haven't gotten to the Seekers yet, it's going to be rough for you if, like, there's a lot of information spilled fast. The Seekers are just information after information after information. It's tough. Mom the Hun and green on your recaps. Thank you. Mariah says, maybe it's me, but it feels like Tisha has this weird animosity towards Octus that is unaccounted for. Blaming him, so that's a part of it she played in bringing it back. I think she internally regrets, perhaps. And we had a whole conversation about that animosity being kind of strange earlier as well. Daniel says, Cadigan is my favorite. I have come around to really liking Octus. Julian has grown on me a lot. I also like all three of those. Like I said earlier, Octus, I wasn't sure how I was going to like. And then at the start of the Seekers, I was like, okay, dude, I'm so over. Every scene is just you experimenting with your body or being interested. Not that I'm like grossed out by it or anything. I was just like, this isn't helping progress anything. It just, yeah. And it happened several times. But these last 2 or 3 episodes, it was Octus all the way for me. Octus really came into light. By the end of it, I was really enjoying Octus. Dill says, I should do the NERDCORE. That's a good suggestion. That seems like exactly what I need. A system to look up names, character references, etc. Heck yeah. Good word tutorial. Control F. Yeah. Control find. You can do that on anything. It doesn't even have to be word. You can go to random web page and Control F. Wait, just got here. What do we know about Mara the Wing? Well, we know that Mara Weaver was arrested by the Cormorants at one point when they were also all like arresting warlocks and stuff. That we found out during the flashback scene for Hal, where he was like with his baby, which was also a weird scene where like Brenna did a baby crying and Liam was tossing a baby. That scene, Thiazi showed up and he said those things about a Mara Weaver. Well, then we also discovered with the druids with Hannon and Sean Garden, whatever garden, that Mara, the Wing, was who they were looking for and interested in and something. And then, of course, all the stuff we learned in the last episode. So Mara's been brought up more than once. Yep, I recommend the recaps. Also, the notes are incredible. Just saying, hey, thanks, Allie. Appreciate it. I agree it was the best case. 4, I concur and respect your assessment. I don't remember what that's to. This is the worst part about doing this is like I start talking whatever, and then I get to a thing, and I'm like, what did I say? Like, what did I say? Because I remember saying something was best case, and I don't remember what it was. Now, Alex fits right into the world of Critical Role, doesn't overcomplicate his words or scenes, but he still brings so much fantasy. I agree. I like that. Captain says, I just don't think she's playing a character, just bring her in a D&D game. Okay, I think you're talking Tisha based on, because somebody else said that's fair, and I was talking about her at that time. Yeah, and again, what I said has nothing to do with that. You can think that. I just ask with anything, people try to be fair and understand that in some of this, she's catching flack in situations that were not her choosing. One of the things I pride myself on is trying to be fair. So I'm just trying to impart that upon others. Her goal was to get her stone back. Hard to stay angry but to complete your mission. Yeah. Also, what's up, Pudge? The soldiers are more cohesive. B-dubs, what's up? While the Seekers seem to all want to discover their own individual story plots. Yeah. I have not, so that might not forebode well. It is a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. Trucas says, looking back, my only gripe with the Seekers table is the characters' relationships feel so inconsistent. Like, I still don't know how they feel about each other or know how to act. No, I agree. I 100% agree. Again, this is something we kind of talked about earlier, was that it seemed like there was some flip-flopping at random times that was kind of strange. Secret fourth table, anyone? Please, no. Please. Not another table, please. On Ashley and Valus from Piratey, they could get angry again since it seems like very few other folks want to see the gods return in some way, even though the mortals have messed things up in record time. Yeah, well, I do love that aspect of her, that she actually wants, she wants to bring back the gods, and as far as we know, or at least her god, and as far as we know, she's the only one who does. Like, in terms of the players and their characters, I think we already saw, like, written on the wall, people saying, like, come back, and that, like, there was a belief, I believe, which was a cool little bit of lore, that some of the people believe, like, the storm rack, where they say it's not, that's not rain, those are tears. And it's because, like, these people want the gods back. So there is a cohort of people who want that outside of the players and their characters. But as far as I know, in terms of characters, she's the only one who's like, no, I want the players back. I mean, the gods back. So I do like that aspect of Valus as well. She still stands out in that regard. Dag says, I do like how Alex is a guesser. He's trying to think information, build a hypothesis. Seems like a wizard would do. I also love that. I said that earlier as well. He felt like he was the only one that when Brennan was dropping lore, he was immediately trying to piece things together, which is part of playing D&D. But then it just felt like they just had to keep going, and then more lore was dropped, and more lore was dropped, and more lore was dropped. But I really loved that aspect of Alex playing Octus in that moment. Mitchell says, hello Mitchell, by the way, the soldiers first arc was very fleshing out the Ozzy story. Seekers fleshed out the info about the Sundered Houses. What do you think of the focus, possible big bat of the Schemers first arc? I think they're going to flesh out what the houses are doing in Damakiar, right? Like, we don't know what Einfasen is doing, despite the fact that we were at the Einfasen compound. We don't know what Cormoray's doing, but we know that they're interested in the Pariah Blades, right? Like, so I think the Schemers are going to find out, is there another side in this? Or are some people working together? This militia being put together outside of the city guard, right? Like, what's that about? So I think we're going to learn a lot about that stuff, personally. How dare you remind me of the Brennan baby role play? Yeah, that was not my favorite moment. I'll tell you that. Him doing a baby crying was not my favorite moment. I'll never forget it. It'll be in my nightmares. City is where those two collide. Yeah, also to that, in terms of what you said, Mitchell. Stephanie says, by the way, thanks for this tonight. Great way to bridge non-weeks and keep us engaged. That was part of the reason I didn't do it before, partially because it also gives me a break. If we're being 100% honest, it also gives me a break. But tonight I was feeling it, and I felt like it was a good moment to do it because we had done these two arcs, right? We had fully completed 2 arcs. There was a lot to talk about, a lot of questions, some critiques. So I thought that this was a good one. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I think if I do this again on an off week, I'm going to start later. I know somebody said, I think Emma said you liked that I started earlier, but I feel like stuff started to pick up in terms of people getting in here a little bit later because it's a normal time that people would start to tune in for the episode. So just to not burn myself out because it's been 2 hours already. But who knows? Maybe I stick to it and that's what we do. Samuel says, Nerdcore man, you have a really great channel here. So much people engaging. Keep it up. It's not the number, but the quality. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. It is kind of the number because I'm trying to do this as my career, but I appreciate that. It means a lot, Samuel. Thank you. Schemers will be fleshing out the war's history. I think they're going to answer some questions about the houses too. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot with what the houses are doing. Like all the houses are doing. Right now, what do we figure out? We learn what the Dakonas are doing. Now we're going to figure out what everybody else is doing in Damakiar. So I think that is there. Daniel says, Julian has gone from thinking that Octus is a secret Dakona's weapon to showing him a lot of respect. That change actually makes sense in light of what's happened in the story. Yeah, I like the direction that is sort of going. Really jarring. Rubber Room Rat, I agree with that. I had a whole rant on that earlier where it was like, it felt so different. And people say, oh, well, you know, there's this reason and that, but she's the reason he got brought back. and she was defending him adamantly against all these other people. She stepped in front of a weapon. She was willing to die and fight in defense of his honor and trust. And now was like, I don't know if we can trust him, Julian. I don't know. And I'm like, where did that come from? You know, and we talked about it. People said, oh, maybe it's this stress or that and whatever, which is valid. But I think she should make it clear to the audience if that's the case, because it did feel a little jarring. Oxus and Bayless had a nice connection early on, but that seems to have weakened after she admitted that she's here because she wants to bring back Salandri. I don't know that it, so in my take, Daniel, I don't know that I felt that it weakened so much as it just hasn't come up and Bayless kind of started to step back. Like that information was given and then they got here to Tanazar and they started all this and it just felt like that just kind of went back. Dr. Callum says, watching Alex play at the table, I'm really curious if he plays chess. Julian and Bayless basically have no relationship so far, but does seem to have a grudging respect for her devotion. Yeah, and the thing is, initially, remember, they were the ones who he was about to open up to her when his father got, his skull ripped out of his head. They were about to have a moment right there, right? So I thought at that point that maybe they were going to become a little bit closer, and then I agree, it hasn't really progressed from that point. Just discovered I can't send Nikolai, thanks for the sub on YouTube. Just discovered I can't send hype points to a live stream. So went your last video and sent them there. I don't, what are hype points? Yeah, there's a lot of political military movement in Demacia. I'm still betting a military coup on the night house play opens. Ooh. If Theater Kid, you just embrace the cringe. That's fair. So you're playing a game today. That was my plan. My plan was to do Critical Role for a bit and then swap and play some Solasta too, but I don't know. We might just keep with Critical Role until I decide to shut it down. Or I might keep going. I don't know. But hello, Boomer. What about the paint? When are we going to know soon? Well, yeah, maybe we figure that out in this arc as well. Maybe we finally dig into the paint, figure out what the deal with that is, because that was mentioned so early and we just don't know. I'll use, because we got that sub, I will say once again, guys, if you are not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing now. If you have not already clicked the thumbs up button, please click the thumbs up button. If you're on YouTube, double tap your screen. If you're on TikTok, if you're on Twitch, click follow or give me your Prime sub or subscribe on YouTube, Twitch. If you guys want to support me making content like this and continuing to do this full time, consider becoming a member on YouTube or subscribing to my Patreon. The link in the description. Also, join the Discord. Linked in the description. Hey, do this every off week. It fills the space and it's only 1 a.m. here in Scotland. Fair enough. I'm here for Azune. Yeah, I feel like he might. I don't know. Something just tells me that he's going to have some rough moments. It's a feeling. The paint and the halfling coffin are my two biggest points of interest for the schemers table. Yeah, coffin of Obalad, basically the halfling angel of death. If I knew you'd be live, I'd have been here sooner. No worries. Neric says, I usually wouldn't root for it, but do you think they're slow burning a potential PvP scenario since they have 13 players? Not sure how it would feel, but I can see a potential situation occurring. I don't think they're like going for it in any way. I think, I mean, with 13 players, like something could happen. A player could just decide to do it. The thing is, though, I feel like it would end up being structured because I don't see any of them catching one of the other players off guard with PvP. I think that's something they would discuss above table before. So. If Liam always makes sad boys, Abria seems to make PCs that need to learn humility and self-awareness. I mean, people tend to have themes. Some of my characters are pretty similar, even when I don't want them to be. High points are promotional gimmick YouTube has to boost videos. Ah, okay. Hey, use high points to promote my videos. Julian against Thimble, epic. That would be intense. But you guys got to remember, Julian looked really strong early on. He was getting hasted every round. Now he still can compete because he has like the bonus action attack and stuff, so he's going to be able to kind of match her offhand attacks. Either way, so that would be an interesting fight. I wish there was a villain table. Ooh, that would be interesting. Aloy, yeah, that would be neat. That would be a different vibe. Deb says, guys, don't forget to Misty step over to the like button and roll a nat 20 to smash it to smithereens. Stop asking me for my prime. I don't know you like that. Give it to me, Boomer. J-Wigs, thanks for subscribing to the channel. Call them the saboteurs. I like that, Daniel. I have no idea what high points are, but I give them mostly to NERDCORE. Hey, thanks for the high points. Yeah, so I've been trying to, this is somewhat unrelated. I'm gonna try to figure out, after getting that feedback on my video, there are a couple of things I want to change. One of which is jumping into the meat of my videos faster. So currently, you know what I do, I go, episode whatever of Critical Role Campaign 4 is behind us, so now we're gonna do this. But before we do that, here's this, 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 and this. So then we're gonna do this, and instead I'm just gonna be like, something, I need to catch people, I think, earlier. So I'm saying I wanna dig in and start to, one of the other bits of feedback they said was that, like, I talk the same way throughout the video. And I don't, like, get excited at some moments or do whatever. And it didn't feel natural to, like, the video, though, so whatever. But, yeah, I wanna improve, because I seem to stay in this bucket of 2,000 to 5,000 views. And I'd like to bust out of that. I haven't had a video get above, like, 5.5K since December. Like, I'm consistent with what I get, but it seems like growth has kind of stalled, while I see some other creators get 10, 13, you know, whatever, on similar videos. So just me thinking out loud right now with some things I would like to improve, or try improving to get more folks. High points were a Twitch thing. They have points for stuff over there, but it's not the same as this. The schemers have the highest chance of a betrayal from a character. Who do you think would do it? You think Belair? Paint. There was so much of it. You got to think Theosity wanted how to use it on the hallowed ground. Interested to see where that goes. I agree. I wonder if it's going to be like something that allows the undead to, like, come out, like it's part of, like, a ritual or something, now that I think about it, because there's so much, and it, like, could be the whole performance area, or maybe it's protection. I don't know. There's so many possibilities for what it could be. Sleep Starve, what's up, dude? I have a feeling the pain is going to turn out to be pretty much nothing of importance. It'll be a letdown like a lot of the other moments in this campaign. Ooh. You're not feeling it, Sleep Starved? I mean, I don't know if it'll be of super importance, but I hope that it'll have a little bit. What's up, Dream Big? Mitchell says, as we approach the first episode of Schemer's Arc, is there anything you would like them to explain further for the soldiers and seekers during the episode's cold opens? With the soldiers, not really. I mean, finding out more about Katigan's past would always be cool. Maybe getting more of a look into Tayor's powers would be cool. We were, Daniel, at a point we did think that was possible. Other than that, I'm not sure. I don't know what we could really learn. From, like, Tyranny's past so much. So yeah, I'm not sure what else when it comes to that. For the Seekers, I mean, they found a bunch of papers, so I'd like to learn more about what they discovered. So for them, it's just more lore to answer that. Reed says, what if the set that Theosity was searching for were the rest of the masks? Yeah, because they have one with Bolair, and then there was that other one that they found with the coffin. Critical Role, not really a PvP vibe, maybe one or two, but two buddy. Yeah, that's fair. PvP would be incredibly bad idea, says Stanley. I can watch the 6 o'clock news if I want betrayal. Very true. Very true. At least one mask is in there, probably in the underworld. Get Mara on it ASAP. Yeah, buddy. Nurik says, yeah, when I was saying PvP, I meant more so that they could be working against each other openly or covertly, not direct combat. Okay, I got you. Yeah, that makes more sense. I want to know what's up with the broken mask that fell into the coffin. Me too. I'll allow you to talk like a pirate if you want. Arr, thanks. Belair does have a form for randomly killing people, so he might betray them. So that's true. That is true, but he's turned over a new leaf. Samus says, keep it up. Thanks, dude. We're talking about the pairs. Oh, yeah, the Celestial Blood potentially being the, as the paint. My feedback is that you're really good at interacting with audience. You got to bring back more voting things though. So much fun, maybe. Oh, as in like, let's vote on the best NPC and the best villain and all that. Yeah, if I can come up with new things to do polls on, like little tier lists on, if that's what you're talking about, where we did a live stream of that, then yeah, I could do something like that. How about me mechanic? Oh, do tell, Boomer. Do tell. You guys a thing? Then we'll flash back to when she helps the Ozzy steal the stone to be interesting. Oh, that would be a good one. The stuff that Clap says, with 3 Paladin players, do you think that one of them will become an Oathbreaker in the future? I don't know who would do that. Valus is very firm in her belief, but maybe that's her big turning point, is that she decides maybe the god should stay dead. Then maybe she becomes an Oathbreaker. Tayor right now doesn't seem like the type. Seems a little noble, and so does Azune. So I don't know which of them would do that, honestly, until maybe we learn more about him or something happens. Yeah, that I'm not sure. Creators that are willing to learn and shape their craft will fare way better than the ones that think that everything. I wish you much luck on your creative journey. Thanks, Debs. Appreciate that. Brennan has planted the seeds for Belair to betray his partners. Yeah, I mean, again, I definitely would say out of everybody right now, if you asked, him or Tyranny are probably towards the top of people that I would expect may do something. In terms of the paint, Parody says it had the faintest magical aura, so maybe it's got celestial blood mixed in. Diluted a little bit. Hi, what are we doing? We're just talking Critical Role, Lisa. Just talking about Critical Role and what may happen. My plan was to eventually swap over and start playing Solasta 2. I wonder if the pain has something to do with the play that was used to kill the Trickster God. Maybe something specific to use for the theater, a weapon or a protection of some sort. Yeah, I was thinking something protection. What if, and this just popped into my head, and it's probably not true at all. What if the paint is the blood or the life force of the Trickster God? What if he's inside the paint? They teased basilisks in the Seeker's arc, but we never got any basilisks. Do we think they encounter them in Dalmakiar? No. I don't think they will. I mean, of course, anything could happen, but I don't think so. Mitchell says, imagine that. Just like how the Seekers were 3 GMs in Ashley, we get a table of 3 Paladins and someone. Miss Malicious says, totally. Mine tend to be on a spectrum of who needs to learn or exercise restraint. Yep. Zune as Tragic Oathbreaker could be Fire RP. It could be. If he still fits into like the groups and the tables and stuff like that by following it. Anyone in this crowd read Dungeon Crawler Carl series Rekindled My Love for RPGs, something to read during off week? I've heard a lot of good things about that, Stanley. I've heard a lot of good things about that. He kisses me through the phone now. Well, Boomer, I mean, I can predict the future. It was always there. It was always there. You guys are falling for each other across the vast sea that is the Atlantic. I think there is a dark side of Azune we haven't seen on screen. I also think that's possible. I also do think that's possible. With whatever, you know, he got tore away from his family. But also at the same time, he seems so noble and willing to like sacrifice himself. So it's just tough. Cameron says, I wonder how Julian will feel when he runs into Taylor wearing Callum's bracers. Valid. But if he's with Thimble, it'll be a little less because he'll know that she's like with the fairies and the fairies do the thing. But he also probably thinks she's just a thief. So, yeah. I don't see romantic tendencies between Tyranny and Cadigan. People either see it as romance or father-daughter. I think most people fall in one of those two camps. Matt says, my father and I were leaving our hotel room in Iraq, and he almost forgot his suitcase. So I said, don't forget your bag, Dad. Nice. I think Azune betrays unintentionally if you can't figure out how Fubar the Revolutionary Guard situation is. Okay, unintentionally I could see. I could see him making a mistake, for sure. Noble falling is the best kind of paladin. Always room for a redemption arc, too. There is always room for a redemption arc. This is true. W dad joke. Unbearable lifer finally types in chat just to say sigh. AKA Flop, welcome in, dude. Golden Orchard soon to be destroyed. It's possible. It's possible. I'm intrigued by that. I'd love to know more about that. Honestly, AKA, I'd love to know more about that. Episode 1, I'm rewatching. The Aussie apologizes to Azune about being too distant, then says, you must remain here or light your own fires. In cahoots? Not necessarily. More of like, I'm imagining light your own fires is like, cause your own chaos, fight the good fight. Like, you need to stay here and make stuff happen, is kind of how I view that. Not that he necessarily knew more, about whatever Theosophy is working on, because I don't think many people do, outside of like Mara. I'm rewatching episode 1. Theosophy. Oh, never mind. I just read that. Hello, mechanic. Laura, I saw 2 hours ago, posted her little happy 11 years nerds from Critical Role. If you guys didn't see on Instagram, because today's their 11th anniversary, by the way. If you guys didn't know that, their first episode that aired on Daniel, thanks for subscribing to the channel. On I think Geek and Sundry or whatever was apparently 11 years ago. Today. So fun fact, guys, 11-year anniversary. No, I like to. Well, okay, Boomer. Like, you know, you guys bringing that in here. This isn't your playground. Seekers found a note stating impeding attack from Dakotas. Well, we don't know if, like, I think actually that's already happened. Like, we don't know when that note was from, aka, and then it was reported from the Black Rabbits, right, that they were told by whatever animal that they had seen that it was already attacked, right? So it's kind of like, was it attacked already? Was it not? We just don't know. Regarding the vision Tyranny saw of Cadigan and Teor and the knife, do you think we might get a flashback scene of that incident? Where he got hurt? Yeah, but I don't think it's going to have the part about them being lovers in it. But maybe eventually we learn about that scene. Maybe she brings it up again later and like asks Teor, both of them, like, hey, so what happened between you guys? Like, you know, I saw this thing where you were hurt, and maybe they talk about, I don't know if we'll get a flashback of it, but it may come up. Thimble seems to not know much about the Aussie's goals or isn't sharing. Yeah, that makes it a little awkward because they're supposed to be like best friends and she was with him all the time and yada, yada, yada. And then it seems like she doesn't know stuff, but this Mara does. And I'm like, oh, maybe does Thimble gonna love Mara, or is it gonna be like a, you stole the Aussie from me, right? Like, who knows? You beat her in chess. Nice, dude. I'm proud of you. She says you didn't, though. Well, if Thimble doesn't know, but maybe she does know and hasn't said anything yet. Yeah, it's possible. I wonder if the soldiers will ever remember the letter for Thimble they got from the Owl Fairy. Yeah, it's been there for a while, huh? Took it as impending. Yeah, and it seems like some people did. Because when somebody had said something before, like, you know, 2-3 episodes ago, whatever it was, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that they've already been attacked. But then somebody said something that made me think, well, maybe not. But then I was reminded in this stream, I think by Daniel, that the soldiers were told that the attack had already taken place. Again, we don't know, and it, you know, but things are pointing in that direction, I feel like. David says, "Gods, I'm old." Wait, what made that happen? I'm old too, David. It's okay. Also, who is the mystery woman that Tyranny saw? I'm pretty sure that's Cadigan's wife. Jaden says, do you think that maybe one of the reasons they want the players back in the city is for a Golden Orchard arc to include Thimble and Julie and whoever else to join the journey? Maybe, but that also feels like it would be a ways off. And at that point, you're going to the Golden Orchard, and unless they defended it and the information was wrong, you're going there to what, collect scraps? Because at that point, you're getting there weeks after the attack took place. And yeah. Says, I'll be 40 at the end of the month. I'm also old. Oh, sheesh. Well, hey, 40's young. Also, happy early birthday. 11 years of CR. Oh, that. Yeah. Yeah. Can't be older, though. I can't tell if you're 18 or 38. I have age blindness when it comes to other adults. Well, I've notoriously been told that I look younger than I am, but I think it's finally starting to catch up. And if I was all shaved, I'd probably look a little bit younger. But no, I turned 35 in June, so I'm approaching 35. Am I proud to be an American? Grateful? Proud? Sure. I mean, I don't know. I guess I've never been like I don't even know why I'm answering this question. But I don't know that I've ever like looked at a proudness to my nationality. I mean, grateful in some ways that like I have running water and I have a lot of privilege. Sure. But in terms of, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I'm answering the question. It's got nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I guess there's your answer. Boomer says, I love hearing you speak about stuff I don't know about. It makes you seem wise. Because I am wise. I saw Star Wars in the theater on opening day, so I don't hear any of you complain about being old. Like original Star Wars. Because I mean, I saw Phantom Menace. Like I was there for that. Yeah, I relate to Deb saying sometimes I'm not proud to be a human. That's valid. I'm 42 on April Fool's Day. Nice. Heck yeah. Buddy Greg is in his birthday's on April Fool's as well. It says, babes, I'm 59. Hey, it's all right, Mama Hun. Stephanie says 55 on Tuesday. Like we're old gang in here. We're 35 or 34 and up. Let's go. Look, I think I got a gray hair right there. I got some right here coming in. Some right here. Sup? We're a mature audience, okay? AK says 40 going to be 41. I'm ancient. Nah, dude, we're all in here. We're all in here grown. I have a coffee mug that says old pirates rule. Heck yeah. Mm-hmm. Does anyone else have the feeling like Hal way more connected than lets on? Some other people have said that. There have been people who believe that Hal is like, they don't trust him or they think something's up. I actually buy into it. I think Liam made his first character that doesn't have like a crazy tragic story, and he's just like your average. He became a family man. Yeah, he competed in or fought in one of the battles or something, and what the Axe and Vine I think he was in. But then he chose to be a family man and do that. So anything interesting from him, I feel like has to come from that part. Other than that, I'm like, meh. Yeah. Star Wars first film in a freaking drive-in. Let's go. D&D Guru says 55 here. Look, seriously. So people are like, some of you are like, oh, I'm so old. And then half the chat's 50 something. So we're all good. We're all good. I can't say what I was about to say to that. I don't know what you're talking about, Boomer, but hey. Sherry says, not me. What do you mean, Sherry? Good point. Just a random thought. I'd selfishly also like to see some characters switch up tables. No, I'm with it. So that was one of the first questions. One of the first questions I asked for this live stream was actually, do people think there needs to be a table swap? I think there does. I think there needs to be a change up. I love the soldiers though. I'd love to keep them together, but I think the seekers need to change stuff up. That's my take. I think they need to. Yeah. First movie of the theater was Ghostbusters 2, says Debs. David says, now I see why this community is so cool. All aged nerds. That's right. Scott says, just turned 50 and every joint of my body hurts. Heck yeah, Scott. Mr. Miller says, I skipped 5 minutes to catch up. We talking Star Wars, old folks in it. I'm 38 this year. Nice. Heck yeah. Yeah, we, I don't remember where it came up. Somebody said something and I said I was old or something. And then everybody started saying their ages, and it turns out that we're all old. Star Wars at the drive-in with the Omen as the double feature. I didn't watch that one. Hal equals evil, maybe. I don't know. I'm not buying it. 80s and 90s kids remember the old ways. I love it. Yeah, I was born in 91, so I'm a 90s kid, but like a kid in the 90s. But I'm not like a 99, who says like I'm a 90s kid. Like you barely opened your eyes before it was 2000. Just my opinion. I do believe the tables have some. Okay, yeah, I already read that. It's all downhill after 25. Yeah. My sciatic has been acting up like crazy. Add those things into your next D&D characters, guys. Some grace while they are early level. I agree. We talked about that some too, B-dubs. Yeah, that I think that again, I always said in these first arcs, I didn't think anybody would die, and we're definitely seeing that show. Yeah. In those locations, because they're just centered, Boomer. The stuff that Clap says, my take is to cut the table stuff out. Just have 2 tables that swap players every now and then. Honestly, again, I am for that. I am. But some people really enjoy this part, and I don't know, maybe they'll figure out a way that makes it a little bit more enjoyable, but I do like the current I like the idea of swapping and again, if you do that, it's like a 6 and a 7. It's doable, right? They've done that before. Like that's been Critical Role. So I don't hate that. I feel like a junior here. I'm only 30. Oh, we found the young buck in here. If Valus was surprised by Octus being undead, what's what she learns about Wix Wings and Celestial Blood? True. Who would I swap from the Schemers and Seekers table? Well, I did watch Rugrats, Mr. Malicious. I did. So I don't want to break up the soldiers, but I'm willing. So I would do maybe Tayor ends up. It's like Tayor, Julian, Tisha Octus. Maybe he just comes in, or maybe instead of Tisha Octus, it's Valus Octus with Tayor and Julian. I could also see Wiccan Tyranny jump in with Tisha Octus. Again, I think that table needs to be split up, even if it's just 1 or 2. I think that there needs to be some split ups. Oh, Sherry, you're only 28. Okay, never mind. Found the new young one. Said earlier when I complimented your t-shirt, they don't mean anything. They're down here, guys. They're down here. Okay, my chesticles are right here. But yeah, this was from a store. I don't know if he still does them. It's a guy in my Discord who made some merch, and he sent these to me for free, which is really cool. There's another one as well. That's a blue shirt that has a really cool saying on it. But I really enjoyed it. He was trying to do his own thing with like merch and creating game stuff. So let me see if he still has it linked anywhere, because they do have some neat stuff. It doesn't look like I can see it. Dang it. Oh well. Yeah, but it's cool stuff. Sure, you're going to turn 26 next month? Okay. Everybody's getting young again. It was cooler when everybody was old. Off, you can't tell if my room gives off seductive or murderer. Okay. I don't see Hal as a traitor. My guess is that he decides to pick up where the Aussie left off and it gets him killed. Then Liam's backup character comes in, whoever that is, which is the one that Brennan really likes. I can see that. Yo, what's up, Shinigami? Welcome in, welcome in. What I miss? I don't know, dude. It's been 2 hours and 35 minutes, so you've missed a lot. Table switch. Is Tara still sworn to protect Wick? I don't think so. I feel like Brennan killing Dame Gaia the way he did was trying to say run, but they stuck around. Then the fight was a mess. It was a little bit of a mess. Current 25, gotcha. I could see Vela's having some real issues with Wick if she learns about his family and having celestial blood. Completely possible, Scott. 100%. Yeah. Tayor, Julian, and Thimble go to the Golden Orchard accompanied by Cadigan. I don't know if Cadigan wants to go there. I mean, I could see. I think Cadigan could go anywhere. But, yeah. Wicked Tyranny could join schemers to pursue his plot against his family. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they would fit in the city as well, Daniel. That's why I think they could be a swap there, too. Room vibes. Vampire who would ask consent to drink your blood. Nice. Consent is important. This is supposed to, it's going to eventually just become my my office where I'll do recordings. I have ideas for how I want to record stuff and these other video ideas I can't do currently. The situation here is it was supposed to be over 3 months ago. There's an addition being built behind this wall, which is why I have this sheet up, because there's just boards. There's just wood there. There's a whole 18 by 18 structure behind it with a bathroom and all this stuff. It was supposed to be done by January. Not in January, by January. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but it is middle March. There's not drywall yet. Not even drywall. There's no floor. Like, there's wood, but like there's no flooring. So, yeah. It's been pretty tragic. It's been pretty tragic. But once that eventually happens, the video stuff will be different and the scenes will be different and everything will be cool. But right now, it's lame. So I would like for Thimble to go to the Golden Orchard with Julian, Tayor, and Valus, and Wick and Tierney join the Octus and Tisha. That's fair. Why do you want Valus to go to the Golden Orchard with him? Are we thinking House Death might be a potential rallying point or divergence? I think rallying point, because he seems to be well liked by folks, and he's like the guy who's like doing something for the community and all that sort of stuff. Do you believe Tara wants to protect Wick? I know that was part of something at one point, but then I thought he said like they're even or something, so I don't know. Brian says, love that there are some older people here. I played in the 1970s. I met Gary Gygax and watched him play at Illinois Central College in 1985. I turned 61 on Monday. Hey, happy early birthday, Brian. I was just watching a video with his son, Luke. He did an interview with some folks, like a podcast. I was just watching it yesterday. That was pretty interesting. And they believe he was teasing the idea that he may end up working with Wizards to be able to put out some actual like official content more with like Gygax's ideas and stuff. So that would be interesting for you, I'm sure. No Critical Role tonight. Didn't they take the last week? So they stated, Cascadia, there's no episode tonight. And they have basically said that they are going to be doing a... They announced this. I even posted a short and a TikTok on this. Rather than do last Thursday of every month, they don't take, or they don't do an episode. They're now basically going to do, of course, holidays. Around holidays, they'll take time off. But other than that, they're going to do it where the story naturally allows. And so they basically said at the ends of arcs. So like this arc just ended. The Seekers just ended. They're going to take a break. Then we'll do the Schemers arc, and then they'll probably take a break after the Schemers arc, and then like that is how they're kind of doing it. So you can expect breaks to come at the end of arcs. Had the subclasses revealed? I think so. Except for no. Julian did just get his because he's that. No, Azune doesn't because he's not level 4 because he's multi-classed. I think everybody else. So it's just Azune because he doesn't have a subclass yet. Thought it was December, like in December it was supposed to be, like by January. That leaves Tisha and Vez to maybe team up with Murray after she gets fired from her job. If she does. For the person who missed 2.5 hours, come to the pre-show before next week's episode. Sure, we'll rehash the good stuff. That's true. We'll probably talk about a lot of that again. Room passes the vibe check. Thanks, Debs. Did you fire the contractor? No. 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 And right now they were they did something incorrect on from the blueprints. So the inspector showed up and found something that already got approved, but now that he's seen it, he goes, yeah, you have to change that first, and it requires either a ton of work or a change to the blueprints. But the person who does the blueprints hasn't gotten back to us, and so they need to make an adjustment to then turn in to get approved again by the city, so then they can do the work. That'll take 3 to 4 days and require another inspection before we get the other inspection again. It's a fiasco. It's a fiasco. It was supposed to be done by January. I'm probably still 1.5 to 2 months out minimum. It's probably going to be May. It's probably going to be May by the time that I actually move in there. Oh. Yeah. Okay. I hope that the Wick Tyranny and Cadigan continues through a table swap. Tyranny and Cadigan have great daughter-father energy, and the Wick Tyranny have great chemistry. And Cat can help toughen up Wick. Yeah, I don't mind those people staying together, Mitchell. I agree with that. Goober says, elf stuff. I'd like to see her lore shine through at the Golden Orchard. Oh, yeah. Well, are the elves tied to the Golden Orchard? Can't what's going on? Oh, my bad. Oh, and I thanked you, Boomer, I think. I feel like I reacted to that. I think Oxus and Tisha should split. Just seems like an increase in conflict. Yeah, which, again, it feels very odd to me, but I wouldn't be against that. Yeah, I think Valus and Octus probably stick together, but I could see Tisha splitting off now. Add your name, otherwise you might have thought I was gone. I did. What's up, Mikey? Makes sense just staying. Thought they were avoiding that by doing the double recorded earlier sessions. Yeah, they've. So somebody pointed out, because I missed it, they actually did. They mentioned apparently in this last episode that it was December when they recorded that. So we're watching an episode they recorded in December. So that's kind of crazy. Deb says, you're going to dress up for Halloween when you go live like the cast do. I know it's ages away, but something to consider. Yeah, why not? I'll put a little costume on for a stream in October if I'm still here and kicking. A lot could change between now and then. A lot could change between now. Like I've said before, this is currently what I am doing full time. And it is very volatile. So we will see. And not just this, like not just Critical Role. I mean, I do the TikTok thing and the YouTube and the Instagram, and I do a lot of things. I've done sponsored posts and all sorts of stuff. But, you know, if they're not successful, then hey, I currently help a company by posting on their socials for them in the TTRPG space. So that's a consistent form of income that I get every month. But if they are ever like, hey, we don't want to do this anymore, I lose a chunk of that. So we'll see. Firing the schemers from their jobs would open them up to life of adventures. Very true. If they all got fired. What's the point of the breaks if everything is pre-recorded? Dude, I have no idea. I don't know why they're doing that. Yeah. People have definitely made that case of like, you know, what's the point? You have everything. Why they choose to do it? I don't know. I don't know. Go in there with a hammer, bro. Hoop jumping when dealing with them people. Yeah, it's tough. Now, for Stephanie, you said Age of Umbra. Do you think they might take a month off and do a limited series for it? That would be painful. I would just hope that they do that on a different day. Like that's just like a show they put out on Wednesdays or Tuesdays or something like that. Maybe when the Azarim or Azarim, whatever it is, when that show is over, maybe they start their Age of Umbra thing shortly after that on Tuesdays. But if they literally stop the campaign forward to do an Age of Umbra like mini series, that would kind of blow my mind, I think. Switch between campaign chat and acting like this is a Q&A. No, it's all good, Debs. It's all good. Dalgo, what's up, dude? Welcome in. Hey, I really liked your opinion video. You should really make more of those, please. I will try. I will definitely try. It's it's the first time that I was kind of surprised. I expected a lot of hate, because in my dealings with fans, there's definitely been like a sense of, hey, if you say anything that is kind of iffy, like we're gonna attack you for it. Hence my long disclaimer that I have since trimmed down. But and sometimes I feel like you said the Twitch is going live. I don't know if you're trolling me or not. No, they did go live. Oh, they're re-showing the Draw Your Weapons episode, probably because they were like, we didn't get enough viewers on that or something. I don't know. I don't remember what I was saying. I was a little nervous about it. And sometimes it's just like I don't have like a massive stance with the reviews, but I will try to do more of those. It would give me another video to make, right? I'm already doing my recaps, so I can do recaps and reviews. Question though, do you guys think recap first, then review, or review, then recap? This one was recap and then review. No problem. Makes it feel more like a community. Engagement always good. We try. Actually, perhaps having Wick and Tyranny might help Tyranny fully realize how she feels about Wick after the moment they had at the end of the Soldier's Arc before Wick ruined it with Arma's mentioned. Yeah, it was where he was like, yeah, we should find her. And she was like, oh, yeah, we should do that. Yeah, that was interesting because that was the first time that I thought like Tyranny had a thing for him. Oh, why do break? Bathroom breaks for us old folks. A whole week? Unless you just meant the episode breaks there. It's late here. My brain is filled between the campaign and nerdcore lore. Yeah, I'm down to answer some lore about me here and there. I just don't do too much because people aren't here for that. Like it's most of the time if I break off, like somebody will come in and they'll ask me a question about just regular Dungeons and Dragons during a pre-show. And I will try to very quickly answer it, knowing that other people, like the point of the show is to talk about Critical Role. It's not to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, okay. It seems you were all in unison saying recap first. So I will get my recap out sometime between Friday and Sunday, and then do the review after that. And I will do that. Chat has spoken. Everybody agreed with that. So I will try to do more reviews. The thing is that not every review is going to be as exciting as that one was in terms of like I feel some type of way, right? I've done one review before, I think, one or two. But I will do another one. I still want to do, so here's the problem. I plan on doing a Seeker's Arc review, but most of everything I said in the episode 18 review. So I feel like it's going to be a little repetitive. There's going to be slightly different stuff, of course, but my worry is that people watching it are going to be like, oh, he's saying some of the same stuff that he said. But who knows? Maybe we'll do a Seeker's one anyway. So we're definitely getting a story break for Age of Umbra. My guess is it's coming after the Schemers arc. You think we're going to go on full hold and just go to Age of Umbra on Thursday nights, Mr. Malicious? We'll also enjoy talking about being old. That's true. That's true. Likes to act hard in chat. Sure, that's got nothing to do with you. So I'm going to do one last thing where I say, hey guys, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give it a thumbs up if you haven't already. Double tap your screen if you're on TikTok. Follow if you're on Twitch. And if you want to support, become a member on YouTube or subscribe to my Patreon. Both are a cup of coffee a month, $5 a month to do that. And yeah, I will probably jump off here in just a second. You could cut up the previous reviews and release as a complete arc review. Yeah, if I do a review for every episode and then do that, I don't think I will. I think now that I know that people are interested, I'm going to try it out consistently. So starting with this, I'll do a whole arc review for the Seekers. And then for the Schemers, I will do a review after every episode. And then we'll see about doing an overall Schemers review as well. But yeah, I mean, it gives me another video to make. to be fair, which I need, right? I want to be able to put out 2 or 3 videos a week. So I will now have the recaps, and I will have the reviews, and then I'll also have, if I come up with like a random theory or something like that, I will also have that. How do you think the summer's break? Which is interesting because some of that doesn't feel as necessary now because of the fact that people have so much more time off with the way that they're designing stuff with these 3 tables. It feels a little odd to do like a whole summer break or to do, you know, whatever, because people are already off for extended periods of time. All right, guys, 2 hours and 51 minutes, almost 3 hours. I'm kind of hitting that breaking point of talking nonstop. I'm kind of tired. So I think we're going to call it. No Solasta 2 like I thought. Maybe I'll play it tomorrow. Maybe I'll stream it tomorrow. No game stream. I could keep going. If you know what? Maybe we will. I'll load up Solasta 2 maybe if people are interested. I don't know. No stream. No, there's no episode tonight. Very absurd. They're taking this week off. They announced, I did a video on this, like a short. They're doing the again, my brain is now not working. I'm telling you, like after episodes, sometimes I don't start. Like after I do the pre-show, sometimes I don't start actually watching the episode until like 30 minutes after it started. Like I start at like 10:30 because I need to like decompress after talking nonstop for 2+ hours. Yeah, it's a week off because they are basically, instead of doing the last Thursday of every month like they had been doing, they're now going to basically take off the week between arcs. They're going to take a break. So the Seekers arc ended, so they're going to take a week off, and then they will do a week, and then they'll start the next group. And then holidays and stuff, they'll also take off around there. Very absurd. Even if there's no episode for sure. Yeah. I'm glad I did this. It's been pretty cool. Nice to meet you all on the Week Corner YouTube. Have a blessed weekend ahead. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, my Discord is linked in the description. Feel free to join. Yeah, I don't think I was going to, David, maybe I'll stream it tomorrow by itself. Like I won't do like a Critical Role live thing. I think I'm going to shut this off. I don't think I have the energy to be entertaining while playing. So I think I'm going to cut this off. Maybe tomorrow I will also stream some. I might play some tonight. Who knows? But tomorrow I will maybe go live with some Solasta 2. And I'll still talk Critical Role if people want to, but that's not going to be the purpose of that stream. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already followed or subscribed or any of that stuff, please feel free to do so. Appreciate you guys. I'm glad I did this, and I will see you guys at the pre-show next week. So feel free to hang out and chat with us. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you guys in the next one.